Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to checking out the YouTube version of Cinematic Autopsy. We've noticed a lot of you are watching and have not subscribed.
Yes.
So,
Please
it would,
subscribe.
yeah, before we begin, it would be wonderful if you guys could click on that little link right there, right, see where I'm pointing right there, and you'll notice that if you scroll down, you'll see subscribe. So subscribe to us, CL Squared Productions. You'll be able to see our videos, stuff.
We have lots of cool
yeah,
content
our trailers.
for you guys. You'll know everything that we're up to in the film world, whether we're talking about it or doing it.
Exactly. So let's give you 5 seconds to subscribe. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys soon.
Hi everybody. How are you today?
How's it going?
Happy October still, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because I realized listening to the Spotify version, there's a lot of like episodes where I just start off like either tired or grumpy or whatever, but like I don't think we've ever done a video one before like that. So, this is me. I'm tired and grumpy. Go fuck yourselves.
We are CL Squared Productions. That is Charles D. Cranky Lincoln. And I am Chelsea LeSage.
Yep.
The pooping queen.
I do love how Gert just looks like a throw pillow in the background.
She does. She looks like a furry loaf of bread.
It's
like an oversized loaf of bread.
Kind of like and I think I've told you this off the air, but my friend Camilla's cat, how she was this big, like white, fluffy cat and stuff. I say was because I haven't seen Camilla in a couple years, but cat could be completely fine. But yeah, no, she was just this big, like fluffy white cat. And I remember once I was exhausted at Camilla's place and I just laid down on what I thought was a super fluffy pillow. And the cat was totally cool with me doing that. And like I
went just a chicken.
Yeah, I went to sleep with just the my head on the cat's belly or whatever. So it wasn't.
And the cat was obviously so big that you weren't concerned about hurting its internal organs.
Yeah, no. And Camilla just made a comment and she's like, Maisie, you're such a slut. And because apparently whenever men would come over, Maisie would be friendly to them. So
yeah.
I
feel like that's a rarity. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I've certainly known dogs that were that preferred one gender or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's entirely possible for a cat to do that too. So anyway, since it's October, we're covering Rob Zombie's 2007 remake of Halloween,
which I had never actually seen before.
Oh, really? I thought you said you had seen it.
I was thinking about the next franchise and the reboot with Jamie Lee Curtis and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because I had never seen this movie.
Oh, there's literally 3 movies called Halloween.
Yeah, so I had seen clips of this, but maybe it was just a trailer. I mean, when this came out, I was like 14 years old. Yeah. So nope, had never seen it.
Yeah. This was the R-rated version that we saw on Peacock because couldn't find the uncut version. Anywhere.
There was an uncut version.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know because this is pretty fucking gory.
Yeah, the scene that it's interesting because there's a scene with like Bill Moseley and Leslie Easterbrook and a whole bunch of like B-movie horror actors where they play security guards trying to get Michael out of the prison. That scene is not in the unrated version at all.
Strange.
In the unrated version, Michael escapes because do you remember how they introduce a prison guard and then you never see him again?
Yeah.
In the uncut version, he drags a female patient into Michael's room and starts raping her.
Wow.
And that's how Michael escapes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a pretty brutal rape scene too. But that now the actress who plays the female patient is not in the movie at all now.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the thing that, one of the many things, if I dare say, um, is that I noticed that there's never any other patient like in the sanatorium at all.
Yeah,
Like I
no.
don't know if he just from being a kid has to just like has to be separated from everyone else. That's why you never see another patient. I keep thinking that your coat's in the background is like a fucking Babadook or some shit.
It is the Babadook. That's what I wear as a
It
coat.
looks like the fucking Babadook.
You know, I
I'm
wear
like,
it as
Charles,
a
there's
coat.
someone behind you.
You know, but yeah, it's the shape. It's Michael Myers actually. So
yes, you've skinned Michael Myers. Yes, it's perfect.
Well,
And there's
no,
nothing funnier than a 10-year-old kid in that mask.
I'm not the awful. So I'll be the first to say that there are things I like about this movie and things I don't like about this movie. I don't necessarily say that that's a knock on Rob Zombie because he had so much studio interference in this film.
Really?
Yeah, oh no, the Weinsteins were giving him notes all the fucking time. He said it was the most miserable experience of his life. He had signed up for a trilogy and they had such a negative experience that he wasn't going to come back for the sequel. And what eventually happened was they kept trying to get new directors to do the sequel, and they kept dropping out too because of the Weinsteins. Yeah, no, he said like it wasn't even Harvey who was the biggest problem, it was Bob Weinstein who was the biggest problem for him. He said
Harvey probably had a lot of plants or something.
Yeah, no, he said notorious plant masturbator Harvey Weinstein, he said, was a piece of shit, but he wasn't the one who was calling him every single day, telling him how much the movie didn't work or giving him notes that made no sense. Got to the point where Rob, on the Howie Mandel show, talked about how he would actually change the shooting schedule that the executive producers were getting. He would change the shooting schedule so that they were always like 2 days behind so that he could never do any of their notes.
That doesn't even make sense to me. Maybe I'm just brain dead today, but what the actual fuck?
Why would a studio interfere that much?
Well, no, I'm just trying to understand. No, I'm trying to understand the 2 days behind thing.
Well, because he was tired of them giving him notes that he thought were stupid notes.
So they'd be 2 days behind, or they'd send them.
So they'd be 2 days behind when they'd get dailies and stuff.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, okay. So that they would give him notes and be like, oh, I'm sorry, man, we already shot that.
Oh, shit.
Bless you. And sometimes he would just tell them he did the notes and not do it.
Damn. I mean, I feel like you do that.
There's a good chance I would. You know how I am when people who are not within our inner circle start telling me how to do shit, I don't react well to it. And, and that's pretty much how he was about it, is that he was very angry about it. And he said it was such a miserable experience that he only agreed to come back if they would let him out of his third film.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he wanted complete creative control on the second film.
Okay. Did he have it?
He didn't really go into that. He just said that he did the movie and he joked about how I think I'm the only person in Hollywood who ever tried to negotiate to get less work.
That is funny.
And yeah.
Witty.
Yeah, so he but yeah, and he would talk about how every day that he would send dailies, Bob Weinstein would call him up like, this movie's a piece of shit. This is awful. You're fucking everything up. You got to change this. You got to change that. You got to change into the other thing. And, he said that it was the point where he dreaded working on this film every single day.
Oh, well, that makes me sad because, like, as you said, I mean, there are things I didn't like about it, but there are things that I really liked about it,
Yeah,
you know? So I
yeah,
want him to be proud of his fucking work. It always breaks my heart when someone's not proud of their work. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, and he said that, like, the first day it actually broke the record for a Halloween box office at the time.
Oh,
Yeah, it was, I think, the second, it was like a 90 million box office or something like that.
cool.
Yeah, like it broke the opening day record for a Halloween film.
Oh,
And just to show you how shitty it is when you have the money people getting involved constantly, they called him up, I think it was like Thursday at 10 a.m. about how this movie's gonna fucking flop, you fucked up, blah blah blah. And he's like, Bob, he goes, are movie theaters even open yet? It's 10 a.m.
oh my God.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so then it went on. I think it was like it made like 45 million or something like that the opening weekend. And it broke the record for box office. And you'd think they'd be happy for him, but he said no. Fucking Harvey Weinstein was calling him up, like bitching about how, if you had listened to us, it would have been doing even better.
Oh,
Yeah, like
that'd be triggering for Charles D. Lincoln.
Like he literally was like, fucking, you didn't listen to us. Sure, it made 45 million, but you know what? It would have made 60 if you had fucking listened to us. So they were
There's
that
no way
negative.
of knowing those things.
Well, that's what they were telling him, and about how, and as he put it, he goes, basically people, he goes, the executive producer people, a lot of them, they go in there thinking filmmakers don't know shit, even though filmmakers are the ones who are actually doing all the work. How they go in there thinking filmmakers don't know shit, and the movie will only work if they give their input into it, when they're actually not even the creative people. They're just the ones with the purse strings.
I wonder how much of that actually like happens, or how much that mentality is actually there, like nowadays. I wonder.
I mean, considering some of the stories Kevin Smith told about when he tried to make a Superman movie, or
Oh,
just,
right.
yeah, I mean, half our podcast has been films where executive producers, fuck things up. And then the other half, when we were doing bad films, was,
Filmmakers fucking things up.
The Postman, where,
Well, I immediately thought of The Postman too. All right, hold on, excuse me. I need a fucking Kleenex.
Where I was,
there's my butt.
I keep thinking, you can also see her butt if you get season 1 of 21st Century Demon Hunter.
That's true. I'm gonna use a sock from my clean laundry next to me. Don't judge me. Actually, judge me. I don't give a fuck.
I was gonna say, now you're like a teenage boy.
It's a different kind of liquid from the body. Okay.
I mean, it's still mucus. It's still mucus.
It is not the same.
I mean, I'm sure they taste different, but I don't know.
Different.
I would not know. I've never actually swallowed snot, so
I have.
Yeah, I've and the only sperm I've ever tasted was my own. So and the ones you get from oh, I'm not going to say it. I was going to make a joke about a particular food chain and about how the people are coming all over their food, but I figured they'll probably be very angry with us and sue us for slander if I do that. So
yeah, probably not the best idea. So much to everyone's surprised who's listening, we do hinder ourselves. We do not say things.
Oh yeah. So, I'll say, and it is a problem I have with some Rob Zombie movies, is that sometimes it's interesting. Rob Zombie will sometimes write really great dialogue and sometimes incredibly clunky dialogue.
This is a clunky ass dialogue film, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the opening quote that he attributes to Sam Loomis's book, I think, is very clunky.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that at all.
It's like, darkest souls are not those which choose to exist within the hell of the abyss, but those which to break free from the abyss and move silently among us. I'm like, those are words.
Wait, hold on. My notes app fucking autocorrected it. Choose to exist within the hell of the abyss, but those which choose to breastfeed from the abyss.
Well, I mean, That could have been going on too. But what's interesting though is the actress who plays Annie in this, Danielle Harris, actually was in the previous Halloween films. She was in Halloween 4 and 5 as the main female protagonist.
Oh, is that why she gets to live?
Pretty much, because she was very screwed over by the people who made those films. Not so much by the directors or whatever, but by the the people in charge of the franchise. Very much fucked her over. In fact, there was a 6th Halloween film, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, that she didn't come back for, because they didn't want to pay her. And so they just hired another actress to play the character for like way cheaper.
I posted this fucking meme today, and it's like Anne Hathaway like smiling like Anne Hathaway does, and it says, "This is the producer telling you you're being recast because they found someone to play you cheaper."
I mean, and that's
happens.
The thing. As producers, I mean, we have recast a couple times, but usually it's for important reasons, like someone sending Chelsea dildos in the mail or something.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's the type of thing where someone does, and it's like, okay, yeah, no, you're out.
Actually, wait, no, do that.
And
I will post which kind I want.
But you know what I mean. I mean, come on, you remember when that person was sending you a fucking strap-on, and that was like, what the fuck? Yeah,
that was just the most bizarre thing too. I hope they're having a great day.
It's very inappropriate, and it's very unprofessional. And that's
also pay your actors. That's fucked up about Annie too.
Yeah,
fucked up.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go into the film though. But yeah, like that was not a great beginning of the film. Basically because and like I said, because that's no one speaks like that. In fact, you won't. That would be the type. Like I was reading that, and I was like, if this was in a book, I would be like, what? Like,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Well, I think it makes more sense as breastfeed than break free.
So we get the Halloween logo without the iconic theme.
Yes. And then we learn we're in Haddonfield, Illinois on October 31st again.
Yeah, with some classic rock song playing.
Yes, I will say I enjoyed the soundtrack more in this movie.
Yeah, I was going to say Chelsea will know the soundtrack more than I do because I am not a classic rock person. Do you know what song is playing at the beginning?
No, I didn't write them down.
Okay.
I didn't write them down. I was going to download the whole soundtrack because I liked the soundtrack and I just didn't get around to it.
Rob Zombie really knows his fucking soundtrack, so.
Yeah, no, I was like, that was one of my favorite fucking parts of the movies. I was like, that's the best soundtrack ever! I mean, there's a couple of songs, like I think Love Hurts is in this, and I'm like, I hate that song.
Yeah, I despise that fucking song.
I hate that song, you know.
That song is part of why I don't like classic rock, for the most part.
And it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. I hate that song too. There's a couple of like classic rock songs that are just so overplayed. Like I have this whole playlist of like classic rock essentials that like Apple Music played, and they're all of the songs that from bands that I love. It's all the songs that I hate because they're too like cliche and overplayed and not done well.
All right,
but we're the most popular.
Then I'm going to have to ask you a question. Then, what is the song you think is overplayed and cliche from Fleetwood Mac? Because I know you love Fleetwood Mac. Is there a song?
I love Fleetwood that's too cliched and overplayed.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, they're the best ever. No, I mean like, no one ever gets sick of Landslide. I'd say like, what else is? Go Your Own Way is played all the time, but I think it's a masterpiece, and I think it's the one band I can't get sick of.
Okay.
So yeah, like that's like you ask me any other band, and I'll tell you. But Fleetwood Mac, I'm like they're perfect.
All right. Well, what's your second favorite classic rock band then?
Well, I love Neil Diamond, right?
Okay.
And everyone loves Sweet Caroline. I fucking hate that song.
Really?
I hate that song. He's a Yankees fan. Okay, they played at the 7th inning stretch. I'm gonna start talking like this. They played at the 7th inning stretch at Fenway Park every Red Sox game, and he's a Yankees fan. I mean, he supported it, but and my mother will fucking agree with me that it's just like my mother. You know how diehard of a fan she is of Neil. She will agree and be like, "That song sucks."
Yeah,
it does.
See,
it does, and it's hard to say.
I like Sweet Caroline.
Yeah, no. Not the true fans hate it.
Yeah, I see, but I'm not a true fan. I can't name you another Neil Diamond song.
That's true. That's true. You love a band too when you like get over how shitty their lyrics can be. No offense, Neil. Sorry, I love you, but that when how simple when someone only has like a 1 or 2 octave range and they have like corny lyrics, and like the fact you must really love them if you can't talk shit about most of their music, despite the fact that that's the music they create. So I would say just Sweet Caroline. But I mean, it's big for someone who's such like a Neil person to talk shit about any of his songs.
Yeah. Like like as a Danzig fan, it's one of the things Danzig fans will talk about, how there's a song he wrote called Skin Carver that it's not an awful song, but it's not like, the man has like 9 solo albums or something like that. And for some reason, like, I haven't seen him like live in 10 years, but for like the last 4 tours, he would open with that fucking song, which is inexplicable to all of us, especially when he had written this. There was an album that came out afterwards that had a better opening song. And he wouldn't open with that song. He'd open with fucking Skin Carver. Bless you. And I remember looking at a fucking set list a couple years ago, and he was still opening with it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why would he?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Like, why is Slayer, who is one of my favorite bands in the world, had a song called Stain of Mind, which was like this weird experiment with new metal.
I feel like I've heard that. I think I've heard of that.
It was like one of their few songs that ever got on the radio.
To me. Yeah.
I don't want to send State of Mind to anyone, but but they insisted on like even their final show, they played that song, and I've never in my life met a Slayer fan who wanted to hear Stain of Mind live ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once they wrote that song and it got on like, this shows how old I am, but shit like Q103 in New York, which because there used to be like a metal station here. Like in the 90s. And once it got on there, every fucking show for the rest of their careers, they would play Stain of Mind as if people wanted to hear it, and no one ever did.
And no one ever did.
It was weird because it was a song that they made purposely to like get new fans. Because Slayer had like the fucking thrash thing, but like at a certain point they were like started putting in all these new metal touches, trying to get like the fucking 20-year-olds or whatever. But I don't think any of them ever listened to State of Mind and said, that's, this is the, I have to listen to more of this band. They still heard the old shit, and the old shit is what made them fucking fans. Hearing the shit from like Rain and Blood and, Hell Awaits and Seasons in the Abyss and shit. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's, I don't know. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, and for Iron Maiden, it was Heaven Can Wait.
See, I like Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah, well, one funniest thing is like I said, I haven't been. The last show I went to was Babes in Toyland in 2015. Before that, I saw Iron Maiden and they played Heaven Can Wait, and it totally took me out of the whole show because that's like an 8-minute long song. And it's a song that I enjoyed listening to when it was on the album, but I'm so fucking sick of it now. And the funny thing is, I looked at a set list from Iron Maiden's last tour, and they played Heaven Can Wait, and in parentheses, it's like, first time in 4 tours. And I'm like, wait, they actually stopped playing that? Oh my God. And now they're
You're
playing
like, God, I wish I was here the past 4 tours ago.
Well, no, because I've heard Iron Maiden's... Iron Maiden's a band that, like, and I don't know if if bands you listen to are even making new albums anymore, but like, I know the one person still makes albums, but otherwise, most of the stuff I've heard from you is all classic stuff. So I don't even know if those bands are still, but like, when the Rolling Stones make a new album, I'm not a Rolling Stones fan, but I know no one's going to a fucking Rolling Stone show to hear like new shit.
No, let me tell you. So the new Rolling Stones album just came out, and
Yeah.
it's really fucking good. It is
Yeah.
really fucking good, and I've never seen them, and I think it's gonna be their last fucking tour. So my mom and I are gonna fucking go because she's never seen them either. But what they're doing, which I think is so smart that more bands should do, is have the fucking album come out, then wait like 6 months, and then go on tour because people know the music by then. You know what I mean? So no, people are gonna love hearing this when they actually go on tour. It's also amazing that these men in their fucking 80s are fucking making new albums.
Yeah.
I bet. Did you even know there was a new Stones album?
No, I don't pay attention.
See, there
to
is.
Rolling
It just
Stones.
came out. See, I thought you were using that specifically because you knew there was a new album, but no, a new album just came out.
Literally, the last new album I knew from the Rolling Stones was "Bridges Over Babylon" or whatever it was fucking called. Because I remember my dad's friends going to it and them all complaining about how many new songs they played. And they're like, I want to hear Satisfaction. I want to hear Sympathy for the Devil. I don't want to hear any of this new shit.
This new shit. I mean, I feel like every music fan, which should be everyone, if you don't like music, don't listen to us. Everyone feels that way at a certain point, where they just love the old shit. Even with artists I love now, I'm like, I want to hear this. You haven't played this in 5 tours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was going to say, I used to consider myself a giant Iron Maiden fan until I realized the last Iron Maiden album I liked came out when I was in 8th grade. And now you have to remember that they've been around so long that was like their fucking 7th album.
Yeah.
So it's enough stuff that, it's like 7 albums worth of stuff that I think is awesome. But I think they're on like fucking 20 or something like that. And I have not liked anything they've put out.
I haven't actively listened to Iron Maiden since I went through my goth punk phase in the 8th grade.
Yeah, which is weird because they're neither. But
yes,
I guess
I know.
I was going to say.
I'm aware, yeah.
But
I'm using my handy dandy sock again.
Okay. Well,
There's a little sexy noise.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a shame we're not doing Beyond the Bell because any AEW fan would be able to relate to you. Anyway, although they might get jealous that you're taking their girlfriend out.
Holy fuck balls.
Nice. Yeah. So, nice. So it's a classic rock song. We see the Myers house, the most white trash version of the Myers house possible.
Yes.
Yes.
And there are some rats, and they're really cute. I love rats.
Yeah, and Michael is there. He's a kid. He's wearing a clown mask, and his mom is yelling at his stepdad, Ronnie.
This is the most toxic family I've seen in my entire fucking life.
I actually found them almost comically shitty.
It's so bad.
They are really, really going over the top. It's of course.
Yeah, but you know damn well that people fucking talk like that too.
Yeah,
you know damn well people do.
I always get the feeling that a lot of those people that Rob Zombie writes characters like this has had a lot to do with him growing up with family who are literal carnies. So I'm sure that he's seen a lot of people like this in real life.
Yeah.
So, and of course, his Deborah Myers, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, the wife of Rob Zombie, and Ronnie.
His legal last name is Zombie?
I'm not looking at his ID, but I assume so.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was a stage name. Continue.
Yeah, and William. Well, yeah, it is a stage name, but he also could have changed it.
Right.
Yeah. All we know is Sherry Moon, that used when they first met, and she was just kind of like a dancer for his band, and a model. She was known as Sherry Moon, and now she's legal. Now in films, she's Sherry Moon Zombie. And William Forsythe, who a lot of people will know from a lot of action and B movies and stuff from the 70s.
Is he Ronnie?
Yeah, Ronnie.
Yeah.
And
he's the worst piece of shit ever.
Oh yeah, I'm all broken up, so I can't work. And he's all, he starts going on about some waitress with big tits at the bingo lounge.
Oh my god, yeah, I know. Jesus fucking, giving me the freaky eye. I'm gonna choke the chicken, snorkel all over her titties, something.
Yeah.
The kid, we got Boo, who's the younger like the baby of the family just crying in the high chair. And I'm like, God, and she's like, I'm making eggs. And I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah, there's a teenage girl who I assumed rightfully, by the way, was Judith Myers. Is there, and he's talking about what a great ass she has, and Jesus Christ, you jealous of your own daughter's ass, and
you later find out that Ronnie is not actually the father of Judith. Thank God. But I wouldn't based on how this movie goes, I wouldn't have been surprised if they were like, yes, that's my father. Would not at all.
Yeah. So at a certain point,
terrible.
Certain point, he throws everything off the table and yells at Judith to clean everything up. I mean, at Deborah to clean everything up. And she still starts yelling about how she's the only one who works in the family. He's like, I'm broke, I can't work. And
Michael comes down talking about Elvis the rat and how Elvis is dead. And right before that, you see him cleaning a bloody knife in the kitchen sink, which of course broke my heart as an old rat mother. So Elvis has died. I had to flush him, and Ronnie's complaining about who pays money for a rat. Takes the mask off, and they have an exchange of I hate you, and Ronnie talks about how he can't wait for his hand to be healed so he can break it again on Michael's face. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck is this family? This is terrible.
So Michael, then we cut to Michael at school, and he's peeing, and some kids rush into the bathroom and start talking about some, as they put it, some pussy who won't fight.
Which I assume is Michael, right? Probably.
No, I think they're talking about someone else, because these kids just seem to be general bullies who, kind of just start with everybody. I mean, I've definitely seen kids like that when I was in school.
Yeah, I mean, it all, of course, stems from insecurity. Kids, if you're listening to this, one, you shouldn't be, but two, don't be a bully, because we'll kick your ass. So, and I think that the lead, the curly-haired bully dude, I meant to look it up, if it's the actor who played Junie in Spy Kids.
I have no idea. I've never seen Spy Kids.
Grew up on Spy Kids. I'll look it up after. If someone knows, then please tell us.
I would assume not, just because wasn't Spy Kids in the 90s?
2003.
Really?
Yeah, I think one of them came out then.
Why do I think of Spy Kids as coming out?
I think maybe the
earlier?
first one. I think maybe the first one did. I don't know, but they did 3 of them or 4.
Okay, and he's not in the first one.
No, he is.
Okay,
he is.
I mean, wouldn't he be in his 20s if he was in Spy Kids then?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't he just looked very, very similar to the actor who plays Junie in Spy Kids?
Yeah.
But that actor also looks like fucking Ron Weasley. It could just be someone else.
Yeah. So the bullies start, saying that, what do you call it? His sister got caught selling blowjobs in the bathroom, and he had to pump the cum from her stomach.
That's fucked up. I wonder if you could even do that. I don't think so.
That's a rumor that, okay, so I'm very surprised you didn't hear that about Justin Timberlake or something. So, because that has been a rumor that just kept recycling. And I know from talking to my sister that she had heard that about guys saying that about the members of NSYNC or whatever, about how, he had to go to the hospital and get fucking, a gallon of half a gallon of cum pumped from his stomach. I
loved NSYNC. I've never heard this. I'm devastated.
It was a rumor that we heard when I was in elementary school, and it was about fucking someone in New Kids in the Block and John Bon Jovi. And I remember my cousin, when she heard me talking about that, said when she was in high school, she heard that about David Cassidy. So it's always just something that jealous guys come up with when girls are attracted to some idol or whatever, and the teenage boys can't handle it, so they make up the rumor that this person had to go to the hospital to get cum pumped from their stomach.
I have never heard that in my life before this movie.
Really?
Yeah. And
it's weird, like I said, because I remember my sister telling me about that, about hearing boys saying that about the members of NSYNC and shit when she was in school.
Fucking insanity. Anyway, these kids suck.
So I was going to say, I assume kids are probably saying that now.
We never said
about
that.
somebody.
I mean, I got fucking bullied all the time. Maybe I just never heard it if people were saying it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So then he brings up, for a buck, your mom will rub her tits on my dad's face, and he shows
pulls out a poster, like a flyer
a flyer with his mom on it, which, you know, that would be shit. I actually went through a little bit of that when kids found out that my stepmom was Tiffany Clark. You know, and like, you know, I would hear like, your mom's a whore who sells her ass in 42nd Street and blah, 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 blah. And, you know,
like she makes more money than your mom does.
You know, and I was just like, technically Show World is on 8th Avenue. But
nice.
You know,
That's hilarious.
No, she wasn't selling it. Well, I guess, you know, selling your ass in the showing it. It's not like she was fucking, you know, random people. It was a sex, you know.
Yeah.
Not there's anything wrong with that, but it's, you know, but it's still like, you know, that's also kind of a weird intricacies for, like, you know, a third grader to, you know, try to explain.
How do you know this? How do you know this?
They know it because obviously their fucking dads
go there.
Well, their dads probably go there, and then they fucking tell their kids. Porn. They tell their fucking kids, you know.
How very Ronnie of them.
So, you know, at this point, the principal from Invasion USA shows up.
That's who it fucking was. I was like, I know that fucker.
Yes, he was the villain from Invasion USA as the principal.
Damn.
Richard Lynch.
God, many Richard Lynch, Dick Lynch. Yeah, there's so many random people who just show up in this. It's crazy.
Rob Zombie, like, I mean, he revitalized Bill Moseley's career. Bill Moseley wasn't really anywhere with his career. Neither was Sid Haig. They had kind of gotten lost in the shuffle until they were in House of a Thousand Corpses. And Rob Zombie kind of... Same thing that Tarantino did for John Travolta.
Makes sense.
People forget that John Travolta's career was kind of over before Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so...
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so, you know, he breaks
Michael's
up the
in the
fight.
bathroom.
Yeah, he breaks up the fight. Michael yells, "Fuck you" at him. And then his mom comes in and says, she can't keep coming in here like this. And he's like, well, I do not enjoy calling you here every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes, yeah. I don't know. So clearly there's something wrong with this kid. You think in that household, like, fucking duh. I don't know. I feel so bad for this little kid.
I'm of two minds about showing this much of Michael's origin. In that I do think it kind of makes him a little more ordinary if he goes through all the steps that your average serial killer goes through.
Yeah.
You know, it makes him a little less mysterious if we know that
it makes him more human. So it doesn't make any sense later on when he's shot several times why he doesn't go down.
You know, like he's basic. I mean, you know, so many serial killers go through the phase of killing and torturing small animals. And, you know, that's one of the signs that they say to look out for. You know, if you have a kid, if they start doing that, then you really need to get something done before they start going to people. I mean, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer did that, and John Gacy, and all those sort of people. Yeah. So, you know, it's I don't know. Like I said, I don't. I part of me likes the story as by itself. You know what I mean?
Like a separate thing. It could be two separate movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it starts off as a prequel and then becomes a remake about halfway through.
That's exactly, like, that was my big thing. I was watching with a friend, and I was just like, oh, who watched the original with me. And I was like, oh, well, now it's literally like, this is a remake. Beforehand was not. So I'm like, it's a reimagining. They're not a filmmaker, really. And I'm like, oh, is it? The reimagining, you know, we're getting the prequel and then we're getting the remake all in one. And they were like, why?
Yeah, no, I honestly would have preferred that they just made the whole movie a prequel then if they were going to do that.
Like, it's kind of cool to see, but I get it because it's almost cliche, because if you work in the horror scene, everything you just said, where everything's a cliche because you're going through what literally happens in the state, like in the sequence of becoming a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it gets rid of the magic of it too. The magic of like, how does Michael Myers never die? Like, it gets rid of that because now if he's just a human, it doesn't make sense how big he is. He could still fucking die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so I mean, that's the thing is that like, okay, Michael is definitely going through all the phases of a serial killer and stuff, but it really, to me, demystifies him.
Yeah.
Like, if we find out, like, I don't know. It's a weird thing Hollywood loves to do with prequels, where they have to explain a little too much, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved it as 2 separate movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I hated that. I felt like Paul, Linda, Bob, and Annie all got cut like a little short.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed their performances. I did. But I feel like they got cut a little short because we put this prequel at the beginning of the movie.
Well, that was my whole thing, is that like, and the prequel part, as I said, if it had been its own different horror movie, I don't think it's a bad horror movie. I think that it doesn't work for Halloween because I think it really demystifies who Michael is.
Yeah, demystifies is the right word. You're
as
right.
As a separate horror movie that you had all these same scenes and just a different last name or whatever would work.
Yeah.
So Dr. Loomis comes in, played by Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
Who I love. He comes in with like, honestly, I looked at him and like, I guess that's just what I would look like if I stopped dyeing my hair.
That's funny. Well, his hair is brown at this point, right? Yeah.
No, his hair is grayish.
No,
it's grayish.
At the beginning?
Yeah, it's gray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he seemed way older when it was 20 years later. Like, his hair
well,
was
it's fully white by the end of the movie. But
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
makes
but
sense.
when he comes in, his hair is gray, and he has like his hair is longer. It's like maybe like 4 inches shorter than mine, but like, and he has like,
we forgot to mention that the kid fucking killed the kid, right? Didn't he do that by this point?
Not yet. That's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. So he comes in, he's a child psychiatrist, and at this point, he starts asking, has Michael ever had a serious psychological evaluation? Because they found a dead cat in his school bag and pictures of animals he killed. And
like a dead fox and some shit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is, later on there's the dead fox when he's an adult, which is the point where I actually I'm sorry, no, that was a dead coyote, because I didn't even know what animal that was.
Right, yeah, no, I thought it was a fox, it was a coyote.
Yeah. And she says Michael loves animals. Why would he do that? And he brings up how bringing pain to small creatures is an early warning sign of bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear the Halloween theme for the first time as Michael runs from the office.
Yeah.
And he goes to his locker, he gets his clown mask.
Because you learn, and that's when you learn early on that, like, you learn it from the opening scene with the clown mask. He always needs a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because it like separates his 2 personalities and shit.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
We see the bully. He's talking about how if he gets one more detention, he'll be expelled. So if he sees that Myers pussy, he's fucking dead.
Gotta get him on the weekend so you don't get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he grabs a random kid's hat and spits in it. And
oh yeah, I'm like, fuck this kid. You weren't in Spy Kids. Judy's a good boy.
I was gonna say, I would assume it would be a very different movie if he had acted like that in Spy Kids.
Yes.
So Michael's watching him in the very much in the way that Michael watches people when he's an adult. And the bully just randomly decides to walk into the woods for whatever reason.
I mean, like, I feel like they just, like, the DP or someone was like, look at how these trees are separated. Let's walk in between them. Have the kid walk in between them. And then Michael's behind one of the trees right past this little thing of trees.
I will tell you, I will say this, that no matter what complaints I have about the movie, the cinematography is not one of them.
No, definitely not.
Cinematography is great in this.
It is. No, it totally is. I'm just saying it's one of those things where, like, one of the creatives is like, oh, look at how those trees are. Can you walk through those trees and then go into the woods?
Yeah, or it's entirely possible that it wasn't one of the creatives. It was fucking the Weinsteins giving their, fucking tree sap and cum covered notes. Maybe
get your stomach pumped.
Maybe Harvey Weinstein wanted him to do this scene because he found a tree that he liked to stick his dick into.
Yes. Brilliant.
And he's like, I was in the woods last night at this exact spot. That's where you need to shoot. Shoot the next scene there. Why? Just don't fucking worry about it. Just fucking shoot there.
Is it sticky, little boy?
Don't worry. It's tree sap. Don't worry about it. Why is the tree sap white? Shut your fucking mouth. You're fired.
You're fired.
So
it's a birch tree. This is not a birch tree. It's a birch tree.
So Michael is wearing his clown mask, and he basically beats the kid to death with like a really big branch or something.
Yeah, he did. It's just a giant branch. I'm like, this kid already has superhuman strength. Okay, got it. So we see Michael's first kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which never comes back in the movie that he's blamed for.
Yeah, I would assume if, I'll tell you, hell, you're in a small town. You would know. If one person gets accused of one crime like that, if anybody else showed up dead for the next 6 months, they will put it on Michael.
That's true. So, I don't think that happened. There were people like that, but the town I grew up in had 50,000 people. So, but a smaller town, maybe, yeah.
Haddonfield, Illinois cannot be a big town, I'm sure.
No. It can't. But I get it. Maybe a couple towns south, like Lenox or Lee or something. Yeah, they do that in the Berkshires. Yeah.
So at this point we go back, we see some black and white TV show, which I'm sure all the genre people will know, and I don't, because I'm like that. And Ronnie is throwing stuff at him, calling him a psycho, calling him a cat killer.
Cat killer, psycho boy.
Yeah. You really
being basically giving him shit for only killing worthless animals. You think you're a big tough killer, things like that. What the fuck?
The thing I kept thinking,
shit.
You really torture and kill all them worthless animals, huh? And I was like, that's exactly the attitude that leads to people torturing and killing more animals, by the way.
Yes, it's exactly how Charles and I work sometimes too. You tell me to do something, we're going to do the other thing.
Yeah.
So, but we would never harm anything. Yeah. We don't even kill bugs.
Yeah. So at this point, he wants to go trick-or-treating. And his mom, by the way, I think is a little too fucking lenient with him here. In fact, I would say she's pretty fucking lenient, where it's you find out your kid has some serious mental issues. You probably don't want to be okay, but you can still go trick-or-treating.
Yeah, but maybe she secretly knows deep down that there's something seriously wrong with him, and so pissing him off in any way and getting in the way of you being late for work.
Yeah,
that she's just she's gonna let it happen. Judith, take him trick-or-treating.
Yeah. And Judith basically doesn't once her mom leaves to go work at the strip club, which, by the way, I felt like her thong was not period appropriate.
I felt so too, and I felt like she was a really good dancer, though.
Well, she used to be one of the dancers for Rob Zombie before.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember just looking and going, okay, that's not, I was around the fucking sex industry as a little kid, and I never saw a woman, I wasn't around in 1978 or whatever this is supposed to be. But...
Oh, but wait. No, so there's this documentary on Hulu. I wanted to talk about this. I think it's called the Red Dragon, the Red something. It's about a strip club in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And how strippers would have to panhandle for quarters for the jukebox, and if not, they would have to dance to whatever the clients put on the jukebox. So that could be the answer.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's horror. I've never heard of that. What does the club just
not
want to pay a fucking
It's on Hulu.
Does the club just not want to pay a DJ? What the fuck?
Yeah, this is the 70s. Yeah. No, I'll send you the documentary. It's a brilliant fucking documentary, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, no,
they interview all the women who used to dance there, who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's really cute.
Yeah, no, every fucking strip club that I have ever known girls who worked at, the DJ was the guy with the most power, and I can only assume this was... Well, you know what? We're gonna make sure the DJ has no power. we're gonna have a fucking jukebox.
Well, I don't think they had it. They just had the jukebox because we're talking about the Midwest. Like we're in Illinois here. We're talking about Oklahoma. You know, like you're not in New York. So, but yeah, they used to have to go around when they were like not on the stage dancing and be like, a quarter for the jukebox, a quarter for the jukebox. So maybe she didn't have a quarter for the jukebox, and some dude just put on what he wanted and she had to dance to that. I'm just saying, I'm theorizing.
Yeah, I've legit never heard of that ever. Like,
yeah, I will send you the documentary. You will love it.
Yeah, like even when when my stepmom would be at like Show World or places like that, they had a guy playing fucking cassettes or whatever.
No,
so she looks really dead faced. She has a really like strip club in New Jersey look about her when she's the expression on her face.
Wah, wah.
Because if you've ever gone to like. I've been to very few strip clubs because I've dated strippers and they've told me about how the women there really don't like you. And so I'm just kind of like, why would I go pay people to make me horny? Who don't
and
like
you can't
me?
Do anything about it
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. I'm just like, it never, honestly, strip clubs make zero sense to me. In fact, my dad and I used to have discussions about that, about how we never understood that. Like why people go to strip clubs. I'm all for the women going who work at them.
That art form is fucking incredible. Like I think fucking artistry is so cool.
Yeah, I think it's fucking awesome that you're able to make money doing that. And I will totally, like I said, I've had ex-girlfriends who did it, and I totally support it. But as a guy, I don't understand at all why I would want to go to one.
That my favorite thing about the strip club, like by my college, I used to go there every day because it was the one place where I could do my homework in peace. I would sit at the bar, and the men wanted nothing to do with me, and the women wanted nothing to do with me, and it was like my safe haven was the strip club to do my homework at.
Yeah,
So like, but I'm like, that's not ideal, and I see all these like goings on around me, and I'm like, you can't even do anything. And like, even if you're like someone who's dancing that day, you could be enjoying it. But yeah, of course you're not going to like the men. Of course you're not going to like them. They don't like you. Of course not.
Yeah. In fact, my ex used to tell me about how like, she said that most guys that go to strip clubs, they don't even want to like the guys who pay for the private dances, a lot of times it's not even sexual. It's that they want someone to talk to.
Yep.
Yeah, that they want
I've heard
someone.
That too.
They want someone who'll just open up to the, who they can talk about shit to that they can't talk about to anybody else.
Yep, I've heard that.
So you're pretty much, as my ex used to put it, she's like, I'm pretty much just a naked psychiatrist for the most part.
See, I'm like dream job, just but yeah. But that happens.
Yeah, but and what's interesting is she also used to tell me that because I said, I'm like, and she talked about how I asked her, like, what do most of the guys look like? And she's like, yeah, most of the guys who come there are ugly guys. But she's like, I try to avoid the good looking guys. And I was like, really? Why is that? And she said that if a guy is good looking, why is he at a strip club by himself?
Yeah.
So she's like, that is a guy with serious, like personality issues. Because if he's that good looking, he should be able to get himself a girlfriend or a wife or whatever who's into the things he's into.
See, I was thinking even more innocent before you said that, which of course like crossed my mind. It makes sense, but I'm like, oh, he just doesn't want to be with his wife right now,
Yeah, no, that's how she would look at it. Is that if a guy's good looking and he's at a strip club, then he's either violent, or he has zero personality, or he's a narcissist or something like that.
Yep. I mean, that all makes sense.
Yeah, she said.
Oh my God.
She said like it's different if a guy is there with his friends, but if it's a good-looking guy who comes by himself, she said that's a major red flag.
Well, that makes sense. Good to know. Everyone who's listening, like if you're thinking about getting involved in that industry, we support you, but this is a good tip that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. She used to tell me about her biggest client was a guy who would just do tons of coke and want her to listen to the entire Motorhead catalog.
It's money.
He was like, I mean.
The song she listens to is Love Hurts.
Yeah. I guess.
Yes, or she dances too. No, it is. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Mom stripping to Love Hurts. I hate Love Hurts. Fuck Love Hurts.
That seems like a bad song to strip to.
Yeah. It was probably just on the juke.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it is a montage scene, so we don't, I don't know. I also, honestly, a lot of songs that I know strippers dance to these days, I think are shitty songs to strip to too, but
Well, neither one of us really listen to modern music for the most part.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So she looks super dead-faced. As I said, it reminds me of, I was helping out a friend of mine's band in New Jersey, in Secaucus. And
Secaucus?
Yeah. And the shitty club wouldn't let us in until the band got there, and the band was late. So we were like, well, we're not going to hang out in a parking lot for the next hour or two. And there was a strip club across the parking lot. So we went there. Yeah. And it was just the most depressing fucking place, because New Jersey, they're not allowed to get topless if they serve alcohol. What? So it's literally just watching bored women in bikinis who look like they want to be anywhere else in the fucking world.
Yeah. That's funny. This documentary too, and I'm sorry, The Red Door, no, that's the fucking Insidious movie that just came out. Red Dragon, I don't know. I'll look it up. It's on Hulu. But they talk about too, there was like a 10-year ban in most of the Midwest states where you could not show like you could take your top off, but you couldn't show anything on the bottom. And like I just feel like so much of this is relevant. On the break I'll look up what it is.
Yeah.
So that people can watch it. But yeah, no, that makes sense. That's fucked up shit.
Well, New York is you're allowed to be topless if they're serving alcohol, but not bottomless if they serve alcohol.
Oh, well, then people break those rules then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of I can tell you specifically a club that used to let me.
I can tell you 5.
Yeah. That used to hell, the bouncer used to fucking sneak me in alcohol.
You 5 as in the last 4 years they do that.
Yeah.
But I won't, because I respect women.
So at this point Judas is with her boyfriend, and
her boyfriend is hilarious looking.
He makes a comment of like, well, he looks like half my friends when I was in high school.
Yes.
And he's like, what if your dad hears us? And he goes, that drunk prick ain't my dad. My dad is in heaven. And so he tells
basically before that she denies taking Michael. She's like, I'm not taking you trick-or-treating to Michael. Yeah. So go by yourself. Yes. Yeah. But my dad's in heaven.
A really shitty move, by the way,
Yeah, it's fucked up. I almost thought it was somehow less shitty than it was in the previous one, where like they never even talked about why Tommy wasn't going trick-or-treating when Lori was babysitting Tommy. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So he tells her to close her eyes, and he puts on a William Shatner mask for whatever reason. And he wants to do it with the mask on.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Michael comes home. He appears that he has done some trick-or-treating on himself, because he does have like a small handful of candy corn.
Yeah, it's all loose candy, which you can't get away with now. Obviously, everyone knows that.
So
yeah, and he's like flicking it across the table and stuff.
So he grabs some duct tape out of the drawer and a kitchen knife, and he's not even wearing like the clown outfit from the original. He's wearing a T-shirt with a clown on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he duct tapes Ronnie to the love seat, which I would normally say isn't possible, because you're gonna wake somebody up doing that. But if he's drunk enough, I guess you could get away with that.
Yeah, that was a big question of mine too. I was like, he didn't wake up at all.
Yeah, because
I've never been that drunk.
I've known people who have been. I've never been that drunk myself. Yeah. But that's usually, if someone's that drunk, that's usually when you can smell it in their pores from like fucking like 6 feet away from them.
I don't know. My mother can smell it in everyone's pores from a mile away, right, Mom? Anyway, continue. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've definitely known people like that who, when they get drunk enough, that you can like smell it like from the next room. So, we get a lot of noise on the score with a tiny hint of piano here.
Yes, and it's beautiful. And basically just destroys him.
Yeah, he
like
slits
so
Ronnie's throat.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also right before that is the creepy shot of him like out the window in the clown mask. I like that a lot. I like that shot a lot. Oh, and this is one of a big complaint of mine as like a continuity Nazi. Um, uh, is that the jack-o'-lantern that's on the scarecrow that's been sitting in the rocking chair on a porch is the biggest fire hazard you could possibly have. I'm sorry, I'm gonna play mom here. You're lighting a pumpkin on fire that's in a wooden rocking chair that is on top of a hay scarecrow, and they lit the jack-o'-lantern and left it there. That's just foolishness. That is a big concern of mine.
Well, what's the continuity error about that? You said it was a continuity error. Is it not lit later on, or what's?
Yeah. Well, it was. I guess it's not continuity. Forgive me. It's the fact that like you're either trying to show that this family is so fucking stupid, or you shouldn't have done it because it's for people like myself who are like, yeah, it's gonna light on fire and could have lit the whole house on fire. Just don't do that. It doesn't have to be lit. Like these people should know better than to light fire to something that's flammable to another thing that's flammable to another thing that's flammable.
I don't have a problem with that considering this family. It seems like 100% on brand.
It bothered me a lot.
Yeah. But well, you could go complain to Ronnie about it, and I'm sure he'll make a comment about sucking his dick or something.
No thanks.
No,
but luckily that doesn't happen because Michael slits his throat really quick. Yeah,
so Michael, he takes off the mask, he looks him in the eye. Now we see Judith put her shirt back on and she goes to leave, and now Michael has a bat while her boyfriend makes himself at home and just starts taking food out of the fridge.
Yep.
And Michael beats him to death with the bat. And he walks through.
I thought that was a play too. That was like an homage in a way to like the original, where like Michael killed someone as an adult, like it's sitting in the kitchen.
Yeah,
he killed either Bobby or Paul in the original. I was like, oh, that's what that is.
I don't think Paul's in the original. Paul's mentioned, but he never shows up in the original.
Oh, okay. Well, he kills someone in the kitchen.
He kills Bob in the kitchen, but they don't have they don't have the shot of him walking through bloody footprints at any point.
Right. I think an homage.
Yeah, I was gonna. I don't really know if that scene's an homage to anything. It makes me think of Child's Play, if anything, because there were scenes of that in Child's Play.
Am I confusing the movies?
Yeah,
I might be confusing the movies.
Yeah, because there's no scene in the original of Michael leaving bloody footprints. But
I'm thinking about Child's Play.
But Child's Play did have a scene of Chucky doing that. Yeah.
Maybe that's the correlation because this kid's 10 years old.
So she's listening to "Don't Fear the Reaper," which was in the original. And it's interesting that Rob Zombie so often has there's so much more nudity in this than the original. Yet Judith is wearing way more clothes than original Judith did.
That's true. That is true. But we get your ass shot, your almost bad shot, and her titties are out. But she's more clothes.
I was gonna say when she's bent over, that was a pretty much like, wow, that's an almost like going right up there shot.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I don't fear the Reaper. What's your point?
And Michael puts on the William Shatner mask and starts touching her leg.
Yeah, which is fucked up. He's 10 years old.
I mean, 10-year-old boys definitely do. Like, it's not an attraction, but there's definitely a curiosity. Like,
yeah, that makes sense. I learned what sex was at 9.
Because you start getting into that, like, like your hormones are starting, and you're just starting to get interested in girls. And I remember, like, because you go from like not liking girls to like being into girls. And it's like not like I would do anything like whatever. But I remember definitely when I started getting like 9, 10, when my like cousin would be around me in her underwear, I would start looking. Whereas before it would be just something I wouldn't pay any attention to because that's just my cousin.
Yeah.
When you start getting around 9, that's when you start noticing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
and he fucking fucks up.
Yeah, he starts lifting up her nightgown.
Yeah, which is fucked up. She wakes up and she thinks that it's her boyfriend, and it's not. And I'm just thinking, unfortunately from the description it tells you who he kills, and like the Peacock description it says like after killing his sister and blah 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 blah. He goes on to seek this, and I'm like, well, there's the whole plot. God damn it, but so he kills her, but I was still shocked.
Really, it's interesting. I mean, considering that happens in the original in the first like minute.
Well, but it already seemed so different. I was like, maybe things are going to be different.
Well, technically, actually thinking about it, technically the first 4 minutes, because the first 2 minutes are the Halloween theme in the original. And a jack-o'-lantern.
Isn't this the only one that doesn't do that too?
I don't know. I'd have to go.
The sequel doesn't do it either, because after I finished this movie, it went right into the sequel, and it didn't do that in that one either.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I didn't watch the sequel.
Yeah, it's a long story about. I certainly have issues about the sequel.
Fair, not for right now. Chelsea has to go to work.
Yeah, so she's obviously freaked out by her brother touching her, and he stabs her, and he starts walking through the hall, bleeding profusely from the stomach. And Michael starts following her, and we get this like distorted version of Michael's stalking theme, which I really didn't like. I honestly feel like Halloween is kind of like the original Halloween is kind of like the perfect score. And as much as I enjoy a lot of the more discordant industrial stuff, and we've certainly used it in Bishop's Cove with David Danier used some of it, especially during the hell scenes. I think it has a time and a place, and I felt that it was a little inappropriate at some places it was used here.
Well, because he puts the mask on too. He put the William Shatner mask is on, and it's just it's kind of funny. So it's a very, very. I'm giving myself credit. It's understandable where I got the kitchen shit confused with like the original Halloween to Child's Play, because this kid looks like Chucky in a way in a William Shatner mask because he's so small. I don't know. He's stalking her down the hallway though.
Yeah.
Because of course she's fine, and she's now in a wife beater, which she wasn't in before. Sorry, people are calling me. I'm on my phone again. But he kills her, and that actually made me really sad, because I know she was like cunty to him, but it's not her fault. Like I felt for some of these characters.
She was pretty cunty to him, but like,
she was, but
she could have taken him out before going and fucking around with her boyfriend. I'm not saying she deserved to get murdered, but
or she could have done it right afterward. She may have done it right afterward, because they were still trick-or-treating afterward.
So but the one thing that I found kind of like, I don't know, like we get an upskirt shot of her after she's dead.
It's a little fucked up.
Which I was kind of like, well, that's a little inappropriate there. So he goes to his little baby sister, and he says, "Happy Halloween, Boo," and he kisses her forehead. And at this point, his mom leaves the club and is heading home, and there's police all outside. Well, no, there's not police yet, but he and Boo are outside in the freezing weather, and he's not responding to her.
Yeah, he's not. So he's already beginning this pattern of not speaking, of being nonverbal.
His basically his dissociative kind of episodes. And then we switch this like sepia footage of the bodies being taken out of the house and the news report about it.
They gave way more information and showed way more.
This was a conversation you and I have had before about the news during the 70s and 80s, though.
Yeah,
because they would say shit like that back then.
And they showed like her nude body and stuff. I'm like, that's fucked up.
They would not have shown her body. Well, they would film it, but they would blur it out. Yeah, that's what they used to do back in the day. They would show them bringing like bodies out of the houses and shit, but they would usually blur it when it actually was on the news.
Yeah. No, this news reporter who in the sepia footage was just, very graphic. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then we learned that there's a 10-year-old in custody. So at least they knew from the beginning. And also I wanted to say, too, that you never know that Boo is a girl.
Yeah.
I just assumed Boo was a boy.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I guess if you know Halloween lore, you know that's Laurie immediately. But if you're not really as familiar with it, then yeah, he does leave it. He does. I think that was a kind of a nice touch for people who haven't seen the sequels and know the whole Halloween history and stuff, that they don't know if Boo is a boy or a girl until later. But if you know Halloween lore, you immediately know that that's Laurie.
Right.
But yeah, no, as I said, like as far as the news report goes, I told you about that story about the diner where the guys made everybody fuck each other and stuff. And hearing that when I was like 4 on the news, like all those details and shit. So they've really toned that shit down. I mean, hell, the Central Park jogger case. I mean, like I don't know how much they show on the documentaries about it, but they talked about her like fucking, getting her panties pulled down and her head bashed. Like they talked about all that shit in the news when I was a kid, when that first happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like the news would have all these sort of details about stuff, about being raped while having a brick hit her in the head and all that sort of shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Hell, there was the Preppy murder case, which you don't really hear very much about, where they had so many sort of details where this Preppy kid and his girlfriend were fucking in Central Park. And I guess they were kinky or whatever, and he choked her with her panties, and it killed her.
Oh wow!
And then he like
known about this.
And it was the kid. He was like this rich kid, and he got arrested almost immediately. But it was like on the news, and like there were all the details about how they were fucking and all that sort of stuff, like on the news reports. So I don't know when they stopped being as you know what? Maybe they stopped being as graphic. Like thinking about it, probably I would say during like Operation Desert Storm or something, because I know that there was an actual mandate from government people to news agencies to tone stuff down, because they felt that that's how we lost the Vietnam War, was hearing about all the bad things happening overseas. So you have to tone the story down and make it just seem like, yeah, America's doing great. We're rah, rah, rah. And I feel that maybe that spread to local news as well.
Yeah.
To tone things down. So that would have been like mid to late 90s or whatever.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, because then that would be why you don't remember news stories like that, actually.
No, I don't.
Yeah, so that's so it's entirely possible that because I know for a fact that the government actually said that to the news organizations to tone down the reporting on the Gulf War.
Okay. So that makes sense.
So it'd make a lot of sense if that also spread to the other departments while they were toning down on the Gulf War.
Okay.
Because the 80s they were graphic as shit. Never as graphic as like Mexican newspapers. I don't know if you've ever seen those things.
I mean, yes, I went to Mexico.
Yeah, with like fucking, nude headless bodies and shit on covers and shit, and
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, like I feel like now, even because I watch a lot of like true crime, I'm obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't even show things like they don't even. They show like part of a body as long as it's not nude. There's like that's it.
Yeah.
Things have obviously been dumbed down. I really have to pee. I'm trying to hold it in.
Yeah. Well, we'll take our break, and let's just get to Michael getting out of the mental hospital, and then we'll go from there.
Oh shit balls. Yeah. All right. I can try and hold it. I'm not getting a UTI over this though.
No.
So he winds up at Smith's Grove.
Yeah.
Smith's Grove is a sanitarium. At 10 years old, he's sent to this fucking institution to be studied with Malcolm McDowell, who's Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, found 11 months later, guilty of first-degree murder. Now, here's the thing that's weird to me. One of the lengthiest and most expensive in the state's history. Why?
Yeah.
Why would this seems like an open and shut case to me?
Well, no, it's because I think the big question, though, not to interrupt, and the big question is whether to send him to juvie, to a psych ward, or to prison and try him as an adult.
But I don't know why that would be. Here's the thing. When you're in a small town and you don't have money, they're going to give you the most harsh sentence possible.
Yeah, of course.
So there really wouldn't be this debate because it's not like his mother had money to fucking, give him a
and it's
rigorous
not like the
defense.
jury. It's not like the jury would be like, it wasn't him. It would just be about his age.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you that he probably had legal aid. And anyone who's ever been involved in courts knows legal aid sucks. You might as well get a fucking turnip to defend you if you have a legal aid lawyer.
It might be bad. Like a public defender, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, if you have a public defender, you might as well get yourself a literal turnip and just have that defend you in court. You will be better off.
I know some really good public defenders, but just as friends,
Yes.
But yes, I understand. A turnip, how about we go with a peach?
Well, no, peaches make me think of asses, and that'd be distracting in the court.
Grapefruit?
You don't want the fucking judge getting horny. That seems like you're trying to fucking, fuck up the legal system.
Well, that's what we all try and do.
So
anyway, continue.
Loomis has been appointed to watch over Michael. And Michael's, I actually had a problem with Michael talking as much here. I feel that he should have been disassociative after his kills.
Yeah.
Because here he's like, why do you talk so funny? And he doesn't remember anything about the killings. And, he's friends with the, Machete, who's the janitor. Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo's the janitor.
Yep.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, and Danny Trejo's been there before. He's been behind bars. And he's been working there for a while.
Yeah,
he's been behind bars.
I was gonna say
he is the Machete.
Yeah,
he's also in Spy Kids.
Yes, no, he was Uncle Machete in that. I know, even though I've never seen Spy Kids. I know I've watched Machete.
I'm not making that up.
No. Here's the thing. He's
in Spy Kids.
He not only is in Spy Kids, but Uncle Machete in Spy Kids is the same character in the Machete movies.
What?
Yes.
What?
It's the same director, and he has said that yes, that is what he goes when he's around the kids, he's a great uncle. But when he's by himself, that's what happens. Yes.
This is like the shock of my year.
Yes, Robert Rodriguez has said that Uncle Machete in Spy Kids and Machete and Machete 2 is the same character.
It's definitely Junie then from Spy Kids, that actor's name. It's definitely the same kid who got killed in the beginning. But okay, well, fuck, Charles, you just literally ruined my life, but like made my year in the same way.
He says Machete, that Spy Kids is canon to Machete.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. And when he says you can't let these walls get you down, I wouldn't even be surprised if that was improv from Danny Trejo, because Danny Trejo is very open about having spent time in prison. He was, as he put it, he goes, I was a really bad guy before I went into acting.
Interesting.
In fact, the way that Danny Trejo actually got his first acting job was he was like an extra or something, because he was just trying to get regular work or whatever, and he was in a bank robbery scene, and he says they were doing it all wrong. So he was like, he didn't know how it's supposed to work, so he kind of just raised his hand and was like, no, that's not how you're supposed to do this. And he showed them how they would have actually robbed that bank. And got upgraded. Brilliant. Yeah, and got upgraded to a character with dialogue because of it. And the director was apparently like, wow, man, you're really convincing in that. Where did you go to school? Where did you get your acting lessons? And he's like, San Quentin. But like that whole, you got to learn to live inside your head. I wouldn't be 100% surprised if that wasn't Danny Trejo really just talking about his experience in prison.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So at this point, Michael's showing Dr. Loomis a new mask. It's just painted all black because it's one of his favorite colors. And Dr. Loomis explains that black is the absence of all colors, and now it's not technically a color. And no one sees me. So blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
his mom comes in every week. He's showing new masks to his mom, and his mom says she doesn't really like the mask.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, he gets left alone in like the cafeteria.
Oh yes, because Malcolm McDowell's gonna walk Mrs. Myers to her car.
Yeah.
And asked the nurse to watch over Michael, and she turns his back to him. She turns his back to him and reads the newspaper, which is like big mistake, fucking bitch.
Well, the woman, the nurse is actually Sybil Danning, who is
oh shit.
Yeah. As I said, almost all like the bit characters and under fives in this were all like people, were like very prominent B-movie people and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not her fault that that's what she was supposed to do. It's just like a dumb move.
I mean,
turning your back to this child serial killer.
The trucker that he later kills was Ken Foree from Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he goes in and kills her. At this point, and I don't know. It kind of bothers me with his like "fuck your world" and like I don't know. That bothers me. Because it just seems
I was impressed by what's her name, the zombie woman,
Sherry Moon.
Sherry Moon. And I loved her like scream when he's screaming and stuff. She's just so like, what did I do as a mother? You can see her downfall, and I'm really I'm impressed by her as an actress with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they do the thing where there's no audio except the alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His mom holding her hands to her ears and screaming. We see her crying at home then, watching old, I guess it's 16 millimeter footage. I
thought it was 8, but that doesn't matter.
Whatever it is, that's before my time.
Like so Super 8.
Yeah. So she has a gun. We hear a gunshot and a baby crying, and then we go to 15 years later.
I just can't believe she fucking did that to her kid, to do that to Boo. Fucking shit, man.
Yeah, at the very least, like leave Boo outside a fire department or something if you're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to go to 15 years later, and we're going to take a break right now.
So that mommy can pee.
Because we are now in the almost remake portion of the film.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys in a little bit. We're gonna kind of run a video about our December 16th thing. I'll be signing there. You'll be able to get signed copies of Demon Hunter and Teresa and Allison. If you bring your own, I'll sign them, but we'll also for $20 we'll have signed copy. You will have copies that I will sign there. So if you want our stuff, it's a great opportunity to get it. December 16th. Yeah.
You should be there.
Yeah, for our Bishop's Cove on our limited theatrical run, which we're very excited about. So Chelsea, why don't you go relieve your bladder? And
my bladder's so small. I'll see you soon, guys.
We will talk to you guys soon.
Or Heather Lambert, right?
Yeah.
Did you know a Catalonia Silver a number of years ago?
Who's that?
I'm afraid that Catalonia passed away recently. In her will, she requested her remains be scattered by you and her parents.
You brought our baby back home to us. Tell me about my sister.
And the more you hear,
Fuck this shit.
I'm the one who started it.
Hey everyone, we're back. Those of you watching will notice that we're both wearing different clothes, even though I look like I'm in the same clothes because I just have probably 25 black button-down shirts. Unfortunately, Chelsea's router stopped working, so
but my dog's voice box is still working fine.
yeah. They had to send the robot that comes over your house and fucks your router.
Yes. They stole the robot from Stop and Shop and just came and same
and
guy.
then the robot came all over your router, and that's usually how it works.
Yeah, it fixed it.
Yeah, it's weird because scientists have disproven the whole female hysteria thing from the Victorian era.
Right.
But it's how routers work. Routers work exactly like that. Yeah, how.
And you know who taught them that was Harvey Weinstein.
Yes, when jerking off onto a plant.
Yes.
The one good thing about that is I've actually been able to have a follow-up on a couple things we brought up earlier in the podcast.
Yes.
For example, Daryl Sabara, who played the bully, is from Spy Kids.
Good. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And now he's it's so weird when you look up a child actor and now they're 29 or something.
Oh, I know. I think my biggest one is with fucking Miko Hughes, I don't know.
Cemetery. I have no idea who that is.
Gage in the original Pet Cemetery and knowing him
now.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Apparently this Daryl Sabara person is currently married to someone named Meghan Trainor.
Oh, Meghan Trainor's a really famous pop star.
Oh, yeah, I've heard her name. I had no idea who she was.
Yeah, you wouldn't like her music.
Yeah. I realized I neglected to mention when we were talking about William Forsythe, who plays Ronnie.
Yes.
The abusive stepdad character. I realized I said he was from horror movies and stuff, but I neglected to mention a character you probably would have known him as from Boardwalk Empire.
Oh,
when he was Manny Horowitz, the Jewish gangster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who actually, I remember my big impression of that character is I've never seen a character who's so deadly, who has such a sweet relationship with his wife.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of Manny's thing. And the documentary about the strip club you were looking for is the Red
Dog Saloon. Yes. It's about the Red Dog Saloon.
Yes. And finally, there's a question I actually had. Because you just kind of said it and then moved on. What does Sweet Caroline have to do with the Yankees?
Nothing. No, nothing. It's the Red Sox. They played at the 7th inning stretch at every Red Sox game. And Neil Diamond's from Brooklyn and is a diehard Yankees fan. So it's just funny.
Okay. So did he write that for the Red Sox?
No.
So why is it played at the games?
I have no fucking idea. I mean, Another One Bites the Dust goes on at fucking basketball games and stuff, and I'm there's no way Queen wrote this for that.
Yeah, but that one, at least, Another One Bites the Dust means someone's gonna lose.
I mean, Sweet Caroline came out in the 70s or 60s or something like that. I think it's just teams just adopt theme songs.
Yeah, well, I know Rock and Roll Part 2 was associated with hockey for a long time until Gary Glitter started being associated with the 90 million terabytes of child porn on his computer.
That'll pretty much end that.
Yeah, but for a long time, when people think of hockey, they'd immediately think of that. Hey,
oh, hey.
Yeah,
I used to play that in marching band.
Yeah, that's Rock and Roll Part 2 from Gary Glitter, who also is Gary Glitter, who was arrested in fucking Thailand for child sex.
Jesus
now,
Christ.
In Thailand, keep in mind, in Thailand, the age of consent is 14. So
your frontal cortex is nowhere near fucking fully fused at that point.
A 14-year-old is too old for Gary Glitter.
That's a problem. I thought that song was 25 or 6 to 4. Monkey, get out of my plants. I have a kitten.
You don't have a kitten. You have a cat. You have a full cat.
She's pretty fucking huge now. Can you get... Where's the water bottle?
I sent you the link for the spray thing. You really
I know. I'm getting
it
for Christmas.
Okay.
I know. It's like the first Christmas I'm like, Mom, Dad, so I need the spray thing for my cat. And I need new towels. Oh, and this Disney princess thing, but only one Disney princess thing. So it's like I'm growing up in the world. Oh, and in my change, I put on a Fleetwood Mac thing to honor them.
There you go. The one band you said you'll never get sick of.
I won't. Yeah. I shan't.
So let's get back into the film. When last we left off, Michael's mother had killed herself.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember that had to happen, but I was just shocked. I was still shocked.
So we're 15 years later now. And there's this Southern guard who I mentioned earlier, who's he's saying he's his own man. He's not going to listen to Machete. And they show him Michael's room, and it just has hundreds of masks in there.
Yeah, I love that. And he's just like a fucking prick to him, like, let's go, fuck, not time to go.
Yeah, and Michael's just huge now. Michael now played by Tyler Mane, who I think is like 6'9" or 6'10" or something like that.
Yeah, like this person has like Gigantuan syndrome or something like that. He's a big person.
Yeah, no, I would say he's actually not big enough for that. People who have that normally go over 7 feet.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm like, Chelsea, your favorite basketball players are never shorter than like 6'11". So
yeah, that's just like a normal tall person thing. Because I know for a fact the wrestler Paul Wright had that disease.
Oh.
And he would often tell a story about the first time his first kiss was also the first day he got arrested.
Because it looks like he was kissing a child?
Yes, because he was 13 years old. And he kissed his girlfriend, who was 12, at a bowling alley. However, he was 6'5" and had full facial hair.
Jesus Christ.
And so someone obviously called the police, and the police did not believe he was a child. They thought that he was... Yeah, like he said it was terrifying for him. Like he was like, I don't have ID, I'm a kid. And they were like, they were getting in his face and yelling, bullshit, you fucking pervert. And yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
His mom was the one who had to come clear it up. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, you know that I hit puberty at 9. I'm sure I've talked about this on air before, but I hit it at 9 and fucking like shot up to 5'7" by the time I was like 10 years old. And actually where Boardwalk Empire takes place, we were walking that boardwalk in Atlantic City, like on a family vacation, and I was 10. And like I got propositioned and like hit on and all this stuff and like glared at and like almost like kidnapped, like all within that boardwalk walk, like up and down. And my mother was right there and she was fucking hilarious. I was very proud of her. But yeah. Looked like a giant person. Like I would think I was 5'11" by the time I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, well, a lot of taller girls have that growth spurt around that age. Like there was the girl that I had that like weird, lifelong relationship thing with, where we, back from like when I got kicked out of preschool because of her, and then later discovered she was like my crush who I just made miserable in 5th grade. She was like she was towering over everybody.
Yeah, we do that.
Because she was like 5'9" before any of us were started growing.
Yeah, that was me.
And then by the end of 8th grade I was as tall as her, but like in 5th grade she was towering over all of us by like a foot.
Yeah, that was me. Got picked on so bad.
Yeah,
look at me now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you've grown an extra 2 inches.
I have, but hey, they all have like 5 children and like 3 arrests and a couple like attempted murders on their hands. So I think I'm winning.
Yeah, I actually, it's scary now that now I'm at the age where, well, not all of my friends, because, but a couple of my friends are actually grandparents now, like that I went to high school with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, like if their kids had like a kid like at 16 or something like that,
Yep. Fucking crazy.
So it's really weird now hearing, like, you know, I made a joke to one of them, the very first one that happened to, and I'm like, no, I refuse to accept that any of us are old enough to be grandparents. You tell your daughter to put that kid the fuck back in.
Yeah.
So Machete basically gives us the universal code for he's going to die in a movie by telling us he's going to retire in 3 months.
Peanut, I know you feel very passionate about Machete, but like right now, Mommy's talking about it.
You know, he wants to. You know, Peanut wants to be involved in the conversation. She
does.
Yes.
No. Do you want to come over here? Do you want to be a part of the podcast? Or are you just gonna stare at this? You're just staring off into space, and you're scaring the shit out of me. Machete is not in the apartment, Peanut. I promise. I looked.
So here's the other thing. How do you feel about Michael being so huge? Because Michael was a normal-sized guy in the other versions.
Yeah, I mean, like, of course I wondered, like, because I've never been with a gigantuan person, not that he has that syndrome, but, you know, I was like, I wonder how big his dick is of course, the first thing I think about. And then I think about Chelsea. He probably hasn't showered in forever. Don't think about that.
Yeah, that was a thing that's going to pop up in my notes, because there's so many times where Michael sneaks up on people.
Yeah.
And all I can think is, how does no one smell this man?
Yeah, that was a big thing too. Like, these are your given circumstances. This man is not allowed to shower, I don't think, you know? So
like, a lot of times in situations like that, they would you're literally like still chained while you're showering.
Makes sense.
But a guy like this, who it seems all of the guards are, you know, I mean, so maybe he still showers in the prison. I mean, not in the prison. I keep calling it prison. In the mental hospital.
In the sanatorium!
But he's not showering once he's out, and he's out for a couple days.
Yeah, that's gross. Yeah, you'd definitely be able to smell him. It'd be like like the houseless people in New York in the summertime.
Yeah, so it's weird when you see him, like, you know, hiding behind a door and no one notices him there. And I'm like, no one has working noses?
Nope.
No one
like me
notices
right now. I have a fever, guys, just so you know. That's what it is. It's not drugs.
What you need is more cowbell. But
yes.
But yeah, so this Southern guard, he's saying he's his own man, blah blah. We see that Michael has like hundreds of masks in his cell, and Machete.
He's paper mache.
Yeah,
making
and
another one.
Michelle warns him. Machete warns him not to touch any of the masks, and he's like, "God damn, I wouldn't want a bum to freak out."
And he's telling him he's sorry for the chains, and telling this dude who's been taking care of him for 20 years. And then we see Dr. Loomis saying he hasn't said a word for 15 years.
Yeah.
And that he's become kind of like my best friend.
Yeah, it's also
so sad and funny.
It's also weird, too, that, like, they're not, you know, that's why I said, I guess, that's why I do wonder if they are showering him, because he doesn't have his hair cut. And that's usually a thing when you're in those places, is they're not just, but if he doesn't have his hair cut, why does he not have a beard?
Maybe he can't grow facial hair.
Maybe.
I know so many men who can't grow facial hair. Yeah. Like I was meeting yesterday. I was on a Zoom meeting, and someone I was on the phone with, on the Zoom with, I just was like, you look like, or was it yesterday, the day before? It was like, your little patches of pubes on your neck look terrible. Get rid of them. Stop trying. You know? So just stop trying. If you can't do it, don't do it.
Well, you know, like, I mean, I used to be someone who I was never able to grow a full beard, but I was able to grow, like, basically a goatee would grow in.
Yeah.
You know, and I would definitely get stubble but it would be like, if I didn't shave for like 4 or 5 days, I would start getting stubble. Now the times where I have shaved for a role or something, I get stubble the next day.
Right. It's like you're a grown. I do all I possibly can for you. And I'm sorry to tell you that this is my last day and I have to carry on. And then he's talking to someone here where he says these eyes will deceive you and destroy you, and that's
the lecture he's giving.
That's the lecture. Yes, he has a book come out, because what does any great doctor do? Write a book about the most fucked up people they take care of. And he says and it's a picture of him as a kid. And he said, these eyes will deceive you and destroy you, and your innocence and your pride, and eventually your soul. So yeah, he says behind these eyes they find only blackness and absence of light. So he's quoting. I like how they do quote things that bring back things that they talked about earlier, like when he was talking about when he was a kid, like the opposite of blackness and color and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
These are the eyes of a psychopath. And Michael was created by a perfect alignment of interior and exterior factors gone horribly wrong. Like, oh god. It was like he knows exactly how to talk about him.
Yeah, so
they have to move him. They have to move him tonight. I just like to have a donut, Larry. So the cops talking about donuts. It did make me laugh.
Well, this is all like the B movie actors and stuff. This is the scene that is not in the unrated version.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah.
So they're gonna move Michael Myers on Halloween night. So he's all chained up, breaks the chains and kills them all with the chains and with his hands. I'm like, nice, except for the woman initially. And
well, that's only because she's on the other side of the door.
Yes, and so she shoots one of the security guards instead of Michael, and then Michael just slits her throat and drags her body. And I'm like, oh, this makes sense. And then Machete comes back.
Yeah, so as I said, in the unrated version, that scene is not there. Instead, it's that Southern guard dragging another patient in there, and they start raping her in Michael's room. And Jesus. One of the guys, the guards puts on one of Michael's masks while fucking her. And that's what sets Michael off, and he kills the two guards and then escapes. And then it goes right to.
Where the fuck can you watch this one?
It's I mean, those scenes are available online and stuff. But I've seen, when I first saw the movie, I saw the unrated version, so I distinctly remembered that scene.
Damn.
Because it's a pretty brutal and graphic scene.
Yeah, I mean, it seems it. Yeah, but I guess scenes like that will always just stick in your head.
Because the woman playing the patient, like, she's fighting the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's fighting the whole time there.
Damn.
So it's not like, where she just lays down and cries or whatever. She's fighting and screaming no and all that while they're, doing it.
Instead, now they made it so there are no other patients in this sanatorium because we never see another one.
Yeah, and then it goes right. Then it would, from that scene, it cuts right to, a Machete coming in, and
the phone starts ringing, right? Yeah. Where am I, Chelsea? So this nurse is like bleeding out, and he's checking the pulse of everyone, and he comes face to face with Mikey. Oh boy, oh buddy, oh pal. And he's telling him to get back in his own bed. Okay, I don't think he even knew that he was getting moved that night. Like, it seemed that way,
Yeah.
He presents his hands and gives him handcuffs, and Michael throws him against the wall and onto a table and into the gate and like waterboards him. And he says, "I was good to you, Mikey." And I have to imagine too, because I've never been waterboarded on camera or in real life, or not. Well,
that wasn't. Like he didn't really. Yeah, he drowned him. He didn't waterboard him. Waterboard him would have been if he put like the towel over his face or a cloth.
Well, then what the fuck? He attempted to drown him in this thingy.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Minutia. The like what that must be like as an actor. To like do that. It's gotta suck.
I'm trying to remember what movie it was where they actually really did waterboard the actor, because they said that there's really not a way to fake that. We actually originally had that in one of my scripts, and we cut it out because we literally could not find a way to not really do it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Charles is open to change. Getting rid of graphic things.
Well, because, I mean, Emily goes through a lot in Bishop's Cove, but that was one of the things where, like, I did so much research into how do you do that, and over again, it would be like the actor being like, well, they just had to do it to me, and I had to deal with it. And I was like, I'm not really going to waterboard one of our actors. So
I know, that poor girl anyway. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we found a good substitute, but, yes. Apparently most of the time when they do it to an actor in a thing, because you can't really fake that, unless you use a fake body, and those are expensive to use because you have to make a whole animatronic and shit. Yeah, the actor ends up really getting waterboarded for the scene. Bless you.
Yeah. I have boogers coming out of my nose.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
So the lesson of this scene here really is don't be nice to anyone ever, because they will murder you with a television.
Yes. What a way to go out. Oh my God, I'm dying. Yes. So it was I'm trying to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. It didn't don't ruin my sneezes. Now I'm offended. Now you carry on. You know I hate it when people take my sneezes.
I know, but I'm sorry. I'm a grandpa. I don't remember these things. At
least you know yourself. Oh, this is gonna fall on me. Charles is accepting of things.
And you realize now that you've got a big blue thing there, I'm gonna totally just
it's falling.
I'm gonna key that. I'm gonna key the shit out of that. You have no idea.
It's my green screen.
What you're gonna be behind the whole time.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I just get my office set back up in the new place, and this is what I get for it. That's fucking hilarious. That's so funny.
But yeah, so the Dr. Loomis discovers that Michael's out.
And so is the blue screen.
And so we go to a gas station where Tom Sawyer is playing. So I know this classic rock song.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, because Mindless Self-Indulgence covered it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They did like a minute and 45 second version of Tom Sawyer.
Oh, that's cool.
Where they sped it up like that much. So the trucker here is Ken Foree from Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
And he's telling everybody not to fuck up his paint job. So he goes into the bathroom to shit while jerking off, I guess.
Kink shaming not allowed here.
Here's the thing that I found odd because you know this scene is obviously in the unrated version, but I didn't know you can show buttholes in like an R-rated movie if it's just a picture.
Oh, I think that makes sense.
Because there's the porn he's looking at is full on porn. It's a really explicit picture.
Yeah, you can see her vagina too from the back.
You can see her vagina and you can see her butthole.
Yeah.
Like she's fully bent over, and I was surprised you can actually show that in an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
I've seen an R-rated movie that had a vagina in it, Basic Instinct.
Right.
But that's a very quick shot. This is, and I would assume that someone's like actual rectum is off limits in a an R-rated movie, but I guess if it's a picture, it's okay.
Then that doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting to know. Don't get any ideas, Charles.
Well, because I had no idea, I saw the unrated version, so I figured, okay, you can show whatever in an unrated version, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in this version, I was very surprised those pictures were still in it. Later on, by the way, there's a really neat CGI trick to hide someone's pubes. That I didn't notice until I actually stopped and freeze framed it because I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is on her crotch? When Linda gets killed and they show her nude or whatever, there's a shot of her body laying down, and I saw something across her crotch, and apparently they CG'd the knife onto her crotch in a position where the knife would not be, but I guess that was to hide her pubic area.
Okay.
And it's it's only shows for like 2 seconds, so most people wouldn't notice it, but it is clearly CG. It is not an item actually put on top of her. So it must have been them like, oh, we can't show this, so put something on top of there to
put the knife on it. Put the knife on it. Put it on there.
Yeah, because it's it was one of those things where I was like, wait a minute, did they like show her C-string or something like that? And then I paused it, and no, it's the knife.
That's creative.
Very clearly an unnatural looking, like it looks like it's from a PS2 game. Like you can tell it's
hilarious.
You can tell it's not, because I guess because they figured it's only going to be in for 2 seconds, so no one's really going to look at it.
You're like, I looked at it.
I found that really amusing. So anyway, Michael knocks on the stall, And he's like, buddy, I got a taco deluxe talking back at me. So it's going to be a while. Do you mind waiting somewhere somewhere else and let me pass this beast in peace?
See, that was just hilarious. I went back because I was like laughing at it. I had to go back and write it down because I thought
that dialogue.
Yeah, because I thought it was so funny. I loved it so much. Actually, I'm gonna have tacos for dinner.
Well, there you go, and you can pass that beast in peace later. So Michael starts knocking on the door, and he's like, "Look, brother, if you're looking for some kind of action, you better take it to the archers before I'm done dropping this load, or you'll be some sorry asshole."
I'm like, no, you have a sorry asshole if you're fucking dropping this taco deuce right now while masturbating. Like, that's not great.
And apparently his name is Joe Grizzly.
Yes, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch. I'm gonna cut that mask right off your face.
Yeah, they start fighting. Michael bashes him into the divider so hard that he breaks through it.
Yeah, what was weird is that there's glass on these stall doors, which doesn't make any sense. Did you notice that? Usually they're just like this. Yeah, no, it's like glass shattered and came off of it. It was like, that's interesting for like a truck stop fucking bathroom.
The only thing I kept thinking of is that so before he goes to fight Michael, he puts on his overalls, but he doesn't stop to wipe or anything.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I was trying to avoid talking about.
Yeah, so that was a further thing that I was like, wait a minute, Michael, now not only does he smell like body sweat, he put on a pair of overalls this man put on after shitting without wiping.
Yeah, always wipe, people. You gotta wipe until there's no shit on the toilet paper, okay?
So
that's my word of advice for this podcast.
So we go to Haddonfield, where we hear a cover of Mr. Sandman, which people will know from Halloween 2, which was the first time I ever heard Mr. Sandman.
Oh, really? I used to cover it in like a barbershop quartet in high school.
Yeah, Mr. Sandman in the original Halloween 2, it opens with the Halloween theme, but then it goes right into Mr. Sandman when we go to Haddonfield.
Interesting.
Yeah, so now we're seeing a completely different family from the Myers. The Strodes.
The Strodes.
Yeah.
It's basically like, this is where we what did I wrote? I wrote Laurie Strode likes older men. I don't know why I wrote that.
Well, no, she said that Mr. Nichols is a horny old pervert. And guess what, Mom? Mr. Nichols touched. The thing is, I actually found this version of Laurie a bit too obnoxious at times.
Yeah, I would like maybe a little middle ground.
Yeah, like it felt like they were like, okay, well, we don't want to make her as repressed as the original Laurie, but they went the exact opposite way. And there's many times,
like I was like when shut up.
Like when she meets Tommy, she's just a jerk to him about like the boogeyman this time.
Yeah, no, she was very Linda and Annie of her, But I realized I didn't hate Linda or Annie as much as I did in the first one.
And her mom is played by Dee Wallace, another alumni of our other films. She was the lead in The Howling. So,
yes,
right. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, like it's weird because like Laurie in the original is really nice to Tommy, and you can tell Tommy's like this bullied kid, and she's like the one person who's really nice to him.
Yeah,
and here she's kind of like just a jerk to him.
Yeah, no, she's kind of a bitch. But this is basically where we get the opening of the original Halloween, not the jack-o'-lantern 2-minute sequence, but
yeah,
like this. So this is the remake of the movie.
so did he ask her to put the keys at the Myers house? I don't recall him saying that.
Yeah.
They did. Okay, maybe I just missed the dialogue.
Put it in the mailbox at the Myers house, and then she runs into Tommy. Leave me alone, boogeyman. Yeah. Somebody likes soccer, and she tells him to lay off the candy corn. I'm your babysitter. You're crazy. I know this. I was like, you're kind of a fucking bitch. And then, so Michael's in the attic of his own house now, digging shit up, finds his old knife and the mask from earlier, and then we hear the theme. And as he puts the mask on, but he holds it up to his face too, which is interesting. Which I was gonna say, I actually appreciate that. They stopped all like the distortion on the themes here. Yeah. And it was just the classic theme, which, as I said, it's perfect as it is. You don't need to change it. That's putting a hat on a hat. Just putting a hat. Now I want to put a hat on a hat.
But yeah, she refers to Tommy as Spaz Monkey.
Yeah, like
and
you can't say that.
And she pretends to get pulled in at the Myers house, just to terrify him.
Right, that's fucked up. Come on, Night. You want to be a part of it? Come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
So,
yes. Come.
Annie now, so Annie now comes to Laurie's talking with Annie and Linda. Annie is basically not just going to pretend to watch Lindsay Wallace and not even watch her.
Yeah, no, I was like, well, that happened quickly.
Yeah, because Mrs. Wallace is a lush and they'll be out all night getting hammered.
Yeah.
And then now Laurie really hates lying, which it seemed like they completely changed her personality for a scene here. Like, I wonder if this was written first and they were trying to make her more like original Laurie and then changed it. And we're like, fuck it, let's go the other way.
Yeah, there were a couple of scenes like that. It was like, she's really nice here. I was like, maybe she's got BPD. I don't know. They didn't talk about that in 2007.
Yeah.
So
we cut to Dr. Loomis. He's upset that they haven't worked hard enough. He's talking to Udo Kier, who is here basically to kick anyone who liked the RoboCop reboot in the balls for their crimes against cinema. And and it's the typical, like, I don't think he's going to Haddonfield, and Dr. Loomis is like, it must be great living in denial. I must try it sometime.
I loved that line.
I loved that line. Linda is now somehow off the squad, is kicked off the cheerleading squad because she suggested going commando, and the line is rocking some snatch.
I did not hear that at all. That's so funny.
That's the line there. And I was actually going to ask you about that line because I've never heard a woman use the term rocking some snatch before.
Well, now I'm going to.
And I wondered if I was like, this is an example of why John Carpenter had his girlfriend writing the dialogue for the women.
That's a smart move. Because that's a terrible line.
When there's a line of girls saying to each other, "Let's go commando and rock some snatch," that a man wrote that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like a couple of men who I'm just like, oh, they've written something similar. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the one with the Chelsea bondage that I told you? I showed you?
The Chelsea bondage.
The picture I showed you the other day?
I don't remember.
I'll tell you off air. So,
yes, please.
This is the point where I just wrote, everyone is awful in this version, and not awful actors, just awful people.
Yes. Yeah.
The acting isn't even bad at all, but it's the characters are all just kind of now shitty people.
I don't think Malcolm McDowell's character is shitty in this.
I mean, they basically go out of their way to make it look like he's exploiting his relationship with Michael for his own personal profit. So even
that is true.
Yeah.
But that's I feel like the most realistic thing. I was like, I'd do the same thing.
Oh, I mean, it's completely realistic, but it's very different from the original one. Seemed concerned that Michael would get out and blah blah blah. This one, until Michael actually does get out, kind of was like, well, Michael, I've been around you. Now it's time for me to use you for my book tour.
Yep, that's true. Touche.
Yeah. So it's interesting though, because this is the point where even though the characters are now shittier people, they're still recreating certain scenes. Like when the three of them are walking down the street, I'm like, okay, I assume this means that Laurie's going to see Michael now. And there you go. Next thing you see is they all see Michael.
Yeah, but they fucking yell at him, which is I think that's great too. Like, you fucking pervert. He could be dangerous or something. Oh my God, you should date him.
Well, Annie pulls the "my dad is the sheriff" card, and here's where I wrote, these really are unlikable protagonists.
Yep.
So we see Annie's dad coming up, which is Sheriff Brackett, played by Oscar Award winner Brad Dourif, aka the voice of Chucky.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
God, this movie really got everyone, didn't they?
Yep. He offers a ride to the girls, and Annie rides home. And Linda, right to his face, is like, "Bacon mobiles make me nervous."
Yeah, Yeah, like Linda's just like throws caution to the wind on everything.
But every character here is kind of just a jerk to everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go to Haddonfield.
So Linda then asks if he was flirting with her, and we cut to Dr. Loomis with the late Sid Haig.
Yes, was like
who is now the gravekeeper. And
yes.
And instead of talking about, I remember there was some weird thing he was talking about with a hatchet and all that in the original. Mm-hmm. And here he's directly talking about how Michael's mom blew her head off.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
And then he starts talking,
as if he doesn't know who Loomis is,
Yeah. Well, then he starts talking about how the doctor, the piece of shit doctor wrote a book that's blood money.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
that book is a masterpiece.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Loomis, like I've read that book. It's a masterpiece.
Fucking hilarious.
So,
someone's desecrated the grave.
Yeah, at this point, I wrote I can't even identify the animal that Michael put on it, but it does turn out later on it's a coyote.
Yeah, I put fox and then corrected it.
Yeah. And the weird thing is he says, I know whose grave that is, but then they don't tell us exactly who that is, which you realize there's actually two choices because they added the mother to the film.
Right.
Like anyone who knows the original would know that it's Judith, but now that you've added an extra character from his family who dies.
Yeah.
And don't say who it is.
They could have been buried together.
Yeah, but it still would have been. But when he says, I know whose grave that is, that sounds singular.
It does.
Yeah.
You should write a strongly worded letter.
I'll write Rob Zombie and complain about his usage of
great idea. I'm gonna go through this whole box of Kleenex. I hope that if anyone has a weird snot kink shit, this is the place to go today. Here we go.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
So now we now see here's the thing. I didn't know, I don't know, maybe it's weird, but I didn't realize these two characters were Linda and Bob in the next scene.
Oh really?
Yeah, I didn't realize it until they started calling each other Linda and Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I just assumed, but I thought it was weird that they were going I didn't think it was weird. I kind of liked that they changed it up and they were like, we're gonna go sleep in the Myers house as opposed to being in Annie's wherever she's babysitting the kid's house. I like that.
I will give them one thing that I think actually improved in this version is the fact that Linda calls him out for being a lousy lay and coming so quickly.
Yes. And he didn't even have to have fun, hump her leg in order to say that.
Because that was certainly a thing that you and I commented on last time. Mm-hmm, and here, here as soon as she comes, she's like, what the fuck, and
it is hilarious.
Yeah, and he asks how he is on a scale of 1 to 10, and she says a 0.
What a bitch. That's so funny. But hey, men don't learn otherwise.
And he says 0 plus 11, which...
Oh boy.
Maybe
I didn't even write that down. I think I must have blocked it out. I don't want to hear about this.
I should also note, by the way, that before she starts listening to Don't Fear the Reaper, they're listening to Halloween 2 from the Misfits. So that Glenn Danzig can be in this film as well.
Put him in everything.
Yeah. So Linda starts talking about how she was bummed by what Annie said. So he goes to the van to get more beer. And it is a good question because I don't know if people do this because I've never done it. I don't drink beer because of my condition, but back when I did, I would never put empties back in the cooler. And have you experienced people who do that?
I think Michael just drank it all.
I don't think that. I
know, but it'd be really fucking funny.
It
was Michael's an alcoholic. Got it.
But no.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
I almost wondered in my head, I just imagined it as he's discovering that half the beer cans are props. So
that's funny. That's funny.
So, and I do I do like this edition that Bob actually wears the sheet and glasses before being killed by Michael.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it is actually him this time. That's cool. Oh, never mind. He's dead.
Yeah, because that gives Michael the reason for actually, like kind of looking like that. Like it makes more sense.
Yeah. I was like, but still, I was just like, you have so many masks, old buddy, old pal, This sheet is just so silly, but it does make more sense having the dude wear it beforehand. Yeah, totally.
So, then they repeat what happened with PJ Souls, where he comes into the room and she's like, do you see anything you like? She shows her boobs. And Michael holds out the beer and she gets up and Michael strangles her while she's naked, which is another thing that I was very surprised they kept in the R-rated version.
Yeah, well, didn't they cut it off before the vagina there? I think they did.
Yeah, which the unrated version, I could distinctly remember seeing her pubes, so I think they probably cut the frame a little more.
Okay, that makes sense.
In the R-rated version. So Michael,
we forgot that Michael strangles and puts Bobby in the wall too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which
that happens first.
Which the knife is in further, but it's still not in far enough to actually pin someone to a wall like that.
No, it's not.
Yeah. See, that's the problem, is you can't really pin someone to a wall with a kitchen knife unless they're like 100 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have to be super petite because the average human torso is so much, you would need like a machete to pin someone to a wall.
Danny Trejo, where you at?
Well, dead. His head was crushed by a TV. But
Right.
So Dr. Loomis is here. He's buying a 57 Magnum. I do love the dialogue here because there's so many movies where someone goes to a gun shop, and I've never gone to a gun shop, so I don't know if gun shop owners really love telling you the details of every particular bit of a gun.
No.
But I really enjoyed that he's doing the very typical movie thing where he's telling everything about the movie, everything about the gun. And Dr. Loomis is just like, can I just buy it, please?
I'm in a hurry. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So Lori's now with her mom and they're giving out candy to trick-or-treaters. And
Lori goes out to babysit Tommy.
Yeah.
And mom wants a vacation. Dad wants sex, and Michael wants stabbing.
That's Lori's dad is down to fuck.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is.
I'll give you some loving later, but first you gotta stoke the fire.
You gotta stoke the fire. Yeah, and she's hungry. It's just I'm like, that's like one of the most realistic relationship things I've seen in people that age. I was like, because it's always weird to see because you don't really want to see it or hear it, but it does happen.
Fill me in on this because I don't have any parental figures, so I've never seen that. And my dad was when my dad was like twice as old as like your parents, he was still dating like 25-year-olds. So like,
yeah, I mean, it does. I haven't seen it in a long time from my folks because they've been broken up for so long, and like stepdad figures like too old really to do anything. But they do like he'd be like, "Oh baby," and my mom would be like, "Can you put the news on?" So I'm like, this is exactly how that goes.
So it's a lot of that, like, I'm, like he's down to fuck, and she's like, I'll give you some loving later, but you got to stoke the fire first.
Can you please put on ABC? Thank you. I'll make dinner at 7. Great. When Wheel of Fortune's on.
It is kind of sad that he does kill Lori's adopted parents here, though.
Yeah, that's so fucked up. I didn't even put together that Lori was his sister yet.
Yeah,
because I thought Boo was a boy.
But I mean, that's the thing, is it's kept kind of So I guess you've never seen Halloween 2 then, the original Halloween 2.
I don't think so.
Because that's where they established that it was his sister. But the new trilogy completely got rid of that.
Oh, well, those are the ones I've seen recently. So
yeah, the new trilogy completely got rid of Michael being his Lori being Michael's sister. But in the original films, that was a whole big reason for him coming after Lori, was that was his sister.
You know what?
And then Rob Zombie adopted that from the original. Yeah.
Okay, well that all makes sense.
Yeah.
So this is really, really devastating. Seeing them die made me really, really sad. So he snaps mom's neck. I don't remember how he killed the dad. Just stabbed him or something.
Yeah.
You're horny? Ho 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 ho! Stab.
Yeah. Well, he stabs her mom first, and then he strangles her. And then he throws her through the coffee table, and it's actually a pretty violent death too.
Yeah, I wonder if Dee was just like, that's what I want.
Well, as long as there's no one naked on set, she's fine. So a little callback to our episode about the howling. So Tommy is now asking if the boogeyman is real. And here's where I put the line of I imagine this is how you were as a babysitter.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, because you were talking about how you were like, yeah, I would indulge the kid if he asked that sort of question. So
yeah,
but
I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, when and now he is wearing a William Shatner mask and hunting people every year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Upper West Side.
Yes, I would not be surprised. Yeah. I missed his birthday this year. That's why the mom's not talking to me. Okay, copy you. Maybe send a holiday present or something.
A sternly worded letter. That's what you'll send for the holidays.
A burp in a jar. Be like, that's $80, please.
You'll send what's the Twitch streamer who was selling her bath water.
Oh yeah. Well, I know people who sell their farts. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We're fucking
But Laurie asks why he believes, and then Laurie says it's true. He likes to eat little boys like you, and the boogeyman's here. You're gonna die. And I just put this is not appropriate babysitter. He actually says this is not appropriate babysitter behavior.
He's so funny. This kid is witty as fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's a great child actor. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look. He's not. He's he's 20 years older now. So
that was 20 years ago. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, 2007. So what? 14 years. 14 years ago.
Probably shot it in 2005 and 2006.
I mean, considering that the fucking bully is now married to Meghan Trainor.
That's so weird. She just said, I'm all about that bass, no interest. My mom likes Meghan Trainor.
Okay. Your mom is way more in touch with pop culture than I am.
Oh my God.
Shouldn't surprise you.
Yeah, you have no idea. Fucking Thanksgiving last week, my Aunt Paula, was my mom's older sister, was like, she's always done this though. She'll be like, Chelsea, you know what you got to do? And then she'll do an entire Eminem song or Kendrick Lamar or something. I'd be like, I don't even know those songs, but she knows everything. I'm like, why are these people hip? It's so cool. And I just got to that age where the younger generation, I'm just like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, you know distinctly. I asked you who Lizzo was.
Oh yeah, well that's okay.
Yeah, so so Lindsay Wallace is coming over, and Tommy is not happy about it because she's a girl. Which once again, realistic. Boys that age do not want girls. It's so weird how when you're a boy that age and girls are like the grossest thing in the world, and you don't want them around, and then suddenly the next year happens
and you need them around.
Yeah, and then suddenly you want them around more than all the boys that you were friends with.
Yeah, what age did that happen for you? I feel like you're the wrong person to ask though, because if you're
No, it was around 11.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was around 11 because I remember at 10 I wasn't into girls at all, and then in 5th grade that's when I started noticing them.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I had a boyfriend. No, I had a boyfriend throughout all of grammar school. Yeah. So I guess it varies. But
you know what? It's different though, because I remember girls saying things that clearly indicated they were horny as early as 1st grade.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I remember a girl whispering to each other about how she wanted to pull down a boy's shorts.
Oh yeah, I've said that.
You know, when like we were in like first grade.
Yeah, maybe talking about horny children isn't the best idea.
You know, but it's like, you know, like to us, like that was not, you know, boys, we weren't saying like that was the last thing we wanted to see was the girls like, you know, without clothing or whatever.
You don't have a penis?
You know, that was literally the only time that ever came up was the whole like, you know, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And
right.
I remember literally being like, I don't really care to see yours, but okay, whatever. You know?
Damn. Okay, fine.
But it would always be suggested by the girl.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it was never something that like any of us suggested until we were like 11, and then we were like, oh my God, we want to touch boobs. You know?
Let's touch boobs. I don't think I ever did that. Interesting.
You know, it's so funny. Like I said, I went from like disliking, you know, like in me and all my friends where we were like, you know, we wanted nothing to do with girls. Fast forward 2 years, the boys are like putting mirrors under the 6th grade teacher's skirt because she was like 20, you know, and hot.
Nice. Yeah, I had a crush on my seventh grade teacher. I wonder how he's doing. Hi, Mr. Webster. I hope you're having a great day.
Yeah. So Annie's at the Wallaces. Her boyfriend comes over. This is I don't know if this is the Halloween debut of Paul because we've only heard of him. And now we see him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And they of course do a subversion of the original at one point when Lindsay makes jokes about tearing Annie's clothes off.
Yeah, that was well. I mean, like, thank God, because I feel like if they pulled that fucking shit from the original, now there'd be problems.
You know, yeah, true.
Lindsay's a little fucking bitch.
Lindsay, of course, knows Annie is down to fuck.
Yeah, fucking. Oh my God. What is this fucking? Oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
And I do love Annie telling Lindsay go worship your God when she to go watch the TV.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, because that used to be the nickname that I would give the TV. So there was a time when I was like a homeless kid and hanging out at my friend Rachel's place with like 12 other homeless kids. And there was one kid who wasn't homeless. He was just like a rich kid from fucking Long Island, but he would choose to be homeless.
Okay.
Yeah, like the rest of us were actually like legitimately had no other choice, but he was like, that was the cool thing because his mom had seen Black Flag he was like, I've been punked my whole life, so I'm going to sleep on the street and beg for money, even though he legitimately had like a home in Long Island that he could go to any time.
Jesus, I don't even know what to say about that.
I did not get along with this guy at all. I thought he was a massive fucking poser. But
yeah, I was like, I bet Charles is going to say poser here.
There was one time where he and I almost got in a fucking fist fight because we're all hanging out, we're talking, and the TV's on, and he turned it off, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? We're watching TV." And he's like, "Well, you guys were all talking, you weren't watching it." And I made a comment about how that thing was my fucking babysitter. If you ever touch the living room God box again, I will murder you. And, and the almighty living room God box was what I called it.
That's really that's clever. And then you knew you would be a fucked up writer, but brilliant in your own twisted mind.
And then he like ran into the other room and read a book aggressively. I guess.
How do you aggressively read a book?
He did. And I remember pointing it out to everybody. And I'm like, oh, he's in there reading a book because I guess he's fucking better than us who enjoy watching television.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
He and I totally did not get along. Even though he once offered to blow me and I told him no.
Well, that's good. You have some boundaries.
I forget what it was, but I made some joke about, we were at a party, we're both drunk, and I made a joke about him being bad at like blowjobs or whatever. And he's like, hey, don't challenge my blowjob fucking skills, man. Like right now, I'll challenge you. You blow me and I'll blow you. And I bet you mine's better. And I'm like, you know what, dude, you won that bet. I'm going to just totally concede here and say, I'm sure you give better blowjobs than I do. So,
my God.
Yeah, Like, because I was like, I don't know if that was a weird attempt at coming on to me because he was drunk or whatever the fuck that was, but no, you know what, dude? You win, okay? Here you go. We don't have to have that
white
contest.
White flag.
Yeah, we don't have to have that contest. I will concede you give better blowjobs than I do, okay?
That's funny shit.
Yeah. So, at this point, they start talking about Ben Tramer. Ben Tramer apparently is special, apparently, according to Laurie in this film.
Right, yeah, no. And we never meet Ben, right? No.
Yeah, we never meet Ben.
Right.
And Michael is just hanging out on the front lawn again while Paul goes to pick up Annie.
Yeah, and then like they don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No one sees him.
Fucking weird.
Yeah. So Sheriff Chuck, we could cut to Sheriff Chucky at this point. Because I'm just going to call him that because it is, of course, Oscar. That. It's Oscar winning. Yeah, Oscar winner Brad Dourif as the Sheriff Brackett.
Yes. So. I don't think that. So the sheriff doesn't believe that Michael's actually there, and Loomis is like, "This is life and death. Come to my office tomorrow. Tomorrow's too late." He's calling him like the Antichrist or something. It's pretty. I don't know. The stakes are high, man. The stakes are high. I don't like it because I feel like still today people would fucking not believe someone's doctor of 20 years. You know what I mean?
Here's the interesting thing that I was realizing is that the things Rob Zombie changed were changed for the worst. Mm-hmm. But the things that like we had complaints about, he seemed to have the same complaints about.
Yeah.
And changed for the better.
Yeah.
Like, like shit like fucking Linda being happy with being fucked for 2 seconds, or with Dr. Loomis not being concerned, not walking around very casually around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Here he definitely seems concerned.
Yes, thank goodness.
And so it does feel like feels like he should have kept more things that worked. Right. While changing the things that didn't, because the things that didn't, he seems to have improved on all of them.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Sheriff Chucky says that he read your book, and frankly, I don't like you. You created a masterpiece of a monster off the blood of this town because monsters sell books.
I like that line too. And he's saying he has no conscience, no reason, he doesn't know right or wrong.
Here's where they actually quote Halloween 2.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was like, this is a quote, I think.
Well, they combine his speech from part 1 with quotes from Halloween 2, because I remember Donald Pleasance in Halloween 2 saying he's come back for her, he's come back for his baby sister, when they reveal Laurie is his sister.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the sheriff calls the Strides. I put they're dead.
The
Strodes. Fucking autocorrect.
Autocorrect, by the way, has been adding words to sentences now.
Yeah, I know.
And it's Jesus like that word. Yeah, Christ. I don't know if I sent you. I sent my ex Liana. I sent her a message, and there was like an extra word at the end of a sentence, and I'm like, wait, no, I didn't put that word there. What the fuck?
It's because people are getting stupider and they don't know how to finish sentences. Maybe I think.
I guess.
I don't know. So Lindsay and Tommy are trying to annoy the shit out of Laurie.
Well, we skipped the sheriff going to the Strode family and seeing the all the bodies and stuff.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of important, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're dead.
So Tommy, crazy. Then we go to Tommy wants to know about the boogeyman.
Oh, is that what it is? He wants to know about the boogeyman. That's all I wrote for that.
And Laurie is just tired of hearing about the boogeyman, while Lindsay is pro boogeyman.
Lindsay's pro. That's funny. All I guys need. Oh, boogers. Yeah. You're welcome, everyone.
They start implying that Laurie is scared of the boogeyman, and once again, this is a thing that, maybe because children knew that, I am not the person to fuck with because I don't like children, but they gang up on her and tickle her. And I was going to once again ask, is this a thing that children will do to a babysitter?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I've had them gang up on me, and like because we'd have like play dates with the girl I used to babysit. I think she was like 7 or 9. I started when it was 7, and it's like all of her friends would come over and tickle me. And so I just started doing this thing where I literally would be like, I'd tickle them back, they'd lay on the ground, and then I'd sit on them, not with all my weight, but be like, "Ha, I'm the babysitter." And they thought it was really funny.
Oh, I get it. You're sitting on the baby. Okay.
I was sitting on the baby.
Yeah.
It was like, "You're a baby. I'm 7. You're a baby."
So yeah, because I was just like, I don't relate to this. If any child tried to fucking tickle me, that would be a child. I would be in prison.
That's funny. Yeah, no, it's just a thing you just let happen.
Okay. See, this is why I'm not a parent.
I am glad at that. I don't know. You'd be a fun dad.
I don't think I would be. I think I'd be a cold dad if my kid was stupid.
And your kid would be stupid because every kid is.
No. I've definitely. I mean, I think I was a stupid kid, but I've seen kids who I think are actually intelligent.
Oh yeah, no, I just meant being stupid, like doing something stupid.
Yeah,
not insulting child intelligence whatsoever.
Yeah, like because I've definitely seen some like really like inquisitive and cool kids.
I've seen some cool kids.
No, I've actually told Tibby all the time. I think she has one of the coolest sons that I've ever seen someone have.
Right.
But then I've also seen plenty of people with stupid fucking kids that I wouldn't want anywhere near me. And yes. I always worry that if I had and you can't choose like that. If you have a kid, you have to love them no matter what. And so
yeah, and that's rough. Like fucking Michael's mom in this fucking movie just loved him no matter what. I'm like, he just killed everything you love.
Yeah, so I don't think I would be able to, I wouldn't be able to fucking support my kid if my kid was a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
And that's not good parenting.
No, probably not ideal. Probably for the best, Charles.
Yeah. So Paul and Annie are getting it on while Michael's just hanging out in the background.
Yeah, he just shows up a lot. Like, isn't he? He's behind Lindsay at one point. Like, this shit's fucked up.
Do you want to fuck me? And when he goes in, he's like, it's so fucking warm. And which I can confirm, by the way, that, and I don't know, maybe you can tell me why this is, that different vaginas definitely have different temperatures.
I think it's just the body temperature of the woman. And it can change depending upon where you are in your cycle and stuff. Yeah.
Because there's definitely been some women that I've gone in and it's like, oh my God, she's so warm. And then others where it's just like, it just feels like regular, like his warmth is just touching her regularly.
Yeah. It definitely changes. I'm not going to go into the details of mine, but I might. If I had alcohol in my system, I would.
I was going to say, oh man, our audience certainly never hears us giving any TMI on this show.
Never. It's never happened.
From the, hey, if you have a snot fetish, check out my nose running.
Yeah, that'll be $20.
Yes. So Michael is offended by this immorality and he kills Paul.
Yes, and he's dead with the jack-o'-lantern, right? Doesn't he put it on his head or something?
Later on.
Oh, God damn it.
Right now Annie's trying to run out of the house while she's topless, but Michael pulls her back in.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Annie because I didn't hate Annie in this movie. You know? I mean, like, she was unlikable, but I didn't hate her like the last one.
Well, Danielle Harris, like I said last time, is about how, she was kind of fucked over by the producers of Halloween 6 and then brought back for this. When you think about it, she's kind of the only likable character out of the 3 girls because they made Lori and Linda really unlikable people in this.
Yeah, it's true. Like, that's not, I was like, Annie's supposed to be the protagonist somehow. She is, I think they were just feel bad for him.
I think they were just trying to do right by Danielle Harris, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
he pulls her back in the house. There's a dog barking in the distance. She goes for some silverware, but throws her down. Wow, autocorrect. She paused herself before stabbing. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, she grabbed a remote. And she's like, if I'm paused, I won't feel it. So
Yes. So that makes sense. She's got a brutal fucking stabbing, man.
Yeah. So now we learn that the sheriff responded to a 911 call 17 years ago, and he omitted that there was a baby in the report, which
is like, you're gonna lose your job right there and then, buddy.
Yeah, he just drove her to another town and dropped her off at an emergency room.
And then someone in the Strode who lived in this town is the one who adopted her.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, no. That's
yeah.
what he did.
So, yeah, that's just my other thing was, when would you have had time?
Yeah.
Did you literally leave a fucking murder scene where the suspect is still there?
To go and kidnap this baby and leave
take
it.
A baby, go to another town, and then come back and then let all your colleagues know.
Yeah.
Because if your colleagues are there, you can't just leave. Guys, hold on, like, what do you got under your shirt there, Sheriff? Nothing? So I'll be,
Why is it crying? There's nothing is crying.
Yeah, I'll be back in an hour. You guys just handle this murder scene. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily add up, does it?
Yeah. So, and what else also doesn't add up is that Laurie is taking Lindsay back home, even though she knows Annie is fucking Paul there.
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense to me. But Annie's still alive.
Yeah.
And now Paul's dead with the jack-o'-lantern.
Hanging, yeah.
Yeah, hanging. That was fucked. I liked... Oh, was that later? Oh, yeah, no, so Michael's behind her. Someone calls 911. Laurie does. And I like how he just, like, pushes Paul's body. Like, that's such... Like, just to see it rocking there. Like, that was one of my favorite parts of this movie. Because I was like, it's completely unnecessary, but so, like, human nature.
Yeah.
To be like, I wonder how it rocks. I'm just going to touch it.
So here is one of the parts, though, where I made the note. And same thing with when Paul and Annie are fucking. Why does no one smell Michael?
Yeah, no, this, they taught you to do this in acting school, children. You gotta do everything you can to make it realistic.
I distinctly remember having sex with my first New York girlfriend, and her cat kept farting under the bed. Because her cat would get nervous because of, like, the motion or her moaning or whatever it was. But her cat was having serious anxiety and just farting up a storm under the bed. And I remember me and her both looking at each other and being like, that wasn't you, right? I remember, because I remember being like, what is that smell? And she's like, is that the smell of passion? Maybe. And I'm like, that is not the smell of passion. That smells like someone passing gas.
Yeah.
And she's
like cat.
And she's like, it's not me. And I'm like, well, it's certainly not me. And like, well, then what the fuck is going on? And then we looked under the bed, and her cat was there, like, very upset by us fucking. And she's like, oh, my cat gets gas when it gets nervous.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Now
I keep thinking about the horse that my mom keeps riding that keeps farting all the time. Anyway, continue. Yes.
There you go. Well, we weren't riding the cat. It was a small cat. That would be weird for us to,
Monkey.
Don't
listen, monkey.
I guess technically we're riding on top of the cat because the cat was under the bed.
Yeah. See, I'm right.
So. But like, I feel like you would smell the homeless smelling man in the room if you guys are having sex. And
yes,
I could almost excuse it when she comes in the house and Paul is hanging there, because a lot of people for some reason don't understand that a body will not smell immediately.
Yeah.
So maybe, or hell, and honestly,
unless they poop themselves when they died, which Paul probably did.
I mean, that's especially if you're being hung,
Yes.
But so I could understand maybe then she couldn't smell Michael.
Yeah.
If Paul had shit himself, or even Annie, honestly, because Annie's been stabbed a lot, and that also tends to happen.
Yeah, the smell of iron, like that much blood, the iron smell, I bet. Yeah.
So
speaking
at least
of which, I need to take my iron pill. Thank you. Yes.
I can understand Laurie not getting it here, but before, when Annie and Paul are getting it on, them not smelling him is ridiculous.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
But anyway, she calls 911. He rocks Paul's body. So what is it? Malcolm McDowell
goes rocks him like a hurricane.
Yes. I'm surprised that isn't in this.
Here I am. Well, no, I'm sure Rob Zombie hates Rock You Like a Hurricane.
I'm sure. It's a terrible song.
It is. The Scorpions are a terrible band, but
yes.
You know, it is. Speaking of people stripping children,
what?
You didn't know about the Virgin Killer album?
Oh no.
Okay, so the cover of their album Virgin Killer has like a topless 13-year-old on it or something.
Well, that's a little fucked up.
Yeah, like the American version has a different cover than the European version. Because yeah, I think it's like, I don't recall the exact thing, and I don't really want to be looking up on Google to purposely
don't do that.
Look for topless 13-year-olds, but if I recall correctly, because I saw it for the first time when I was in Denmark, and it was like this guy in a limo with like a topless 13-year-old or something like that.
Yeah, nope, that's pretty bad. Don't like that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So, so at this point, Michael's chasing after Laurie, and the sheriff and Loomis are rushing to the house. And here, as I said, Loomis actually has some urgency to his actions, as opposed to the casual stroll that Donald Pleasance was taking to the neighborhood.
Oh my God, that was so silly.
Yeah.
That was so silly.
And so he's chasing after Laurie, and he's very fast this time. I mean, he's power walking.
He is power walking. That is true. That is true.
I wrote, she runs to Tommy's place because only one child has been put in danger so far. We can't have that. So Michael starts trying to break down the door, and he is successful very quickly.
Yeah, he was. I love that he wasn't like mad about it this time. Like the original, like that was the part that Tommy got me, when he was just like such a little bitch about fucking like opening the door, like for Laurie. Yeah, no, that's, this time I was actually nervous for the children, like for the littles. I was actually scared for them, but they're okay. So Tommy knows how to open doors. Lindsay and Tommy are okay, and Michael just breaks down the door because he does. So Laurie tells the kids,
he's basically evil Kool-Aid Man.
Yes, he is. He's Kool-Aid Man, like filled with blood and mayonnaise instead. Yes. So Laurie tells the kids to get back in the bathroom. The cops pull up. And a cop wants them to open the door, and I go, don't do it. I think I literally screamed that. And he said there's no one out here, but he dies, of course, right as she's about to unlock it, because Michael breaks right through it. Someone shoots him. Oh no, who shot him? The sheriff, or
it was Loomis, because I wrote
Loomis, yes. Oh, because
I wrote doors do not stop this, Michael, nor do bullets, apparently.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. It was the cop. Because he shot the cop who shot him.
Someone shoots him. He grumbles.
He stabbed the cop, not shot the cop.
Yeah. I wrote he grumbles and is unaffected and stabs the cop. And he turns around for them. And next shot we see is him carrying Laurie out unconscious. And then more cops show up as he just walks away with her slowly.
So while he's doing this, I want to point out that they're playing the Halloween 1978 wrong.
Are they?
They changed the piano riff slightly, and I don't like it.
That makes me angry.
It's really like, it's one of the classic fucking Halloween songs, and they changed one of the riffs on it, and it doesn't sound anywhere near as good.
Damn. I don't like that.
And since they used the rest of the licensed tracks, I can only assume that was not a rights issue. That was a choice, and it's not a good choice.
It was a bad choice.
Yeah.
We all make bad choices sometimes.
So Sheriff finds Annie dying, and which is once again kind of a takeoff from, he definitely added scenes that were in Halloween 2, because Halloween 2, and the sheriff finds Annie. And in like the beginning of the film, and it's like a really heartbreaking scene. Even though Annie is fully dead in that movie, Yeah.
I like that she gets to live.
Yeah.
I do.
So Dr. Loomis runs off. He's waving down the paramedics. The kids run to Loomis, and he says the boogeyman took Laurie, and he tells the kids to stand by the ambulance. And I put, for all this movie's faults, this Dr. Loomis actually seems concerned with what's going on.
Yes, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So we get Lori waking up next to Linda's dead body, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, who is nude, and this is where the knife was added to her pubic area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the Myers tombstone is there too.
Yeah. Judas.
Judas, yeah. So we're in Michael's in the shadows, so obviously we're in the Myers house. Lori keeps asking, "What do you want? Please don't hurt me." He drops the knife.
You did skip over her trying to wake up Linda first.
Oh, yes. I just thought that like she looked too dead to even try to wake her up.
Yeah, but she does try to wake her up though, which
she does.
I think most of us would do if it was our friend though. We would, even if they were clearly dead, I think most people would do that if it was someone that they actually really cared about there.
That's true. Let's just be like, "Oh well, please don't kill me too." Not even check for a pulse. Yeah, Chelsea, be realistic. You'd do that too. Maybe. Depends on who. So she begs to not be hurt, and he drops the knife and gets out the old picture of her as a baby with him when he was around 10 years old before he went and murdered everyone. And he's kept it all this time, and she notices the knife as she takes the picture. And he goes to take off the mask, and she says she wants to help him, she just doesn't understand, and I just don't know how. And then stabs him.
Yeah, originally and this is not in the unrated version, but they did shoot it. And then they felt it didn't work. Originally he actually called her boo at this point and spoke.
Oh, is this the one where I said that he finally spoke? I don't. Well,
he's been speaking this whole movie. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
But here they actually had shot the scene of him speaking as an adult. Where he calls her boo, but obviously that name wouldn't have meant anything to her.
Boo. I'd be like, "I'm already scared. You don't have to say that." She says, "You motherfucker," and stabs him and runs, bangs on doors, etc. And she can't get out because there's chains on everything. She somehow does break some door down and was like, okay, she has Michael's strength. And Michael gets up and she gets stuck at the gate. So he puts the mask on. It's sad.
I was actually going to say that it feels like this place is woefully not up to code.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, wasn't it set for demolition? Or no, people were gonna look at it to buy it.
Yeah, I don't even remember what was supposed to happen to it in this version. I know in the original people were gonna rent it out. I don't know what's supposed to happen in this version.
Yes, this is an extreme disrepair. I wouldn't go near that house.
Like it could totally be for demolition, but I don't know. Do you remember them saying that? Or
no, I was watching something else with some house being demolished and probably getting them both confused.
Oh, okay. Well, the Property Brothers were going to show up, and that was going to be the crossover in this film.
Yes, I know. We will go out in a little bit. Mommy's almost done. Okay.
Yeah.
They're looking at me like, Mom, just please don't shit in the house.
Yeah, we're this episode, people, will not be anywhere near as long as our last episode.
My God,
we're in the home stretch of this thing.
That's fucking hilarious.
So she ends up in the pool, which has no water in it, just a lot of leaves.
Just a lot of leaves in there. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, where I moved, I have upstairs neighbors now, and I'm like, I'm like in the middle of the night, I get scared, and I'm like, oh. It's just humans. So if you hear anything weird, it's not me. So she blah, 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 falls into an empty pool. Actually, that's how my track and field, and when I played tennis for a little bit, my coach in high school became like a paraplegic and like wound up in a wheelchair because he got really fucked up one time and jumped into a pool or dove into a pool without water in it.
Oh God.
Yeah. So don't do that, people. Always check to make sure there's water in the pool.
Holy shit.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So like when he was my coach when I was at that high school, I asked my mom because he went to school with my mom, I think he's dead now. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But she was like, yeah, and my mom was there when it happened. Yeah. Crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it makes me sad.
So wait a minute. Why were your mom and were they like friends in younger years or something?
I think they were just at the same party in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he got really fucked up and dove into the pool.
Wait. So he was your coach, but he was already a paraplegic?
Yeah, he was already a paraplegic. He became paraplegic in high school when he dove into a pool. And then was my coach when I was in high school.
How did he become a coach then? Like, I've never heard of a paraplegic coach.
He was really, really good at track and field and tennis. So, but not anymore.
So,
but he still had things to teach people.
So just explain the mechanics of that to me. Would he like show up in a wheelchair?
I think he was my basketball coach too.
To the track or something, or like.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've legit never heard of that before.
Oh yeah, no, he was my coach for like 3 different sports. I don't even remember his name though, which is kind of sad.
Okay, because when you said that he became a paraplegic, I immediately thought that like that was when he had already been your coach. And then when you said your mom was there, I was like, wait, whoa, what juicy story was going on here?
Juicy, empty pool, juicy story.
Yeah, your mom and your coach are out getting drunk and he's diving in the pool.
A lot of coaches don't actually demonstrate like physically. They just coach you from the side. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's not he could still shoot baskets in basketball and could still hit a tennis racket or show how to strike, but just couldn't actually do it.
Okay.
He certainly didn't show us how to do hurdles. He couldn't do that or anything.
Okay, yeah, because I never participated in any sports, but I remember all my gym teachers were also the coaches at my school, and they were all in shape.
Oh yeah, no.
The only one who wasn't in shape was the dance teacher, who was like a little like woman shaped like a ball.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
that's cute. Anyway, so yeah, he goes into the pool too. But you know what's funny? No, but because the water's fine. But you know what's crazy though is like this family was so poor growing up. They didn't have a pool earlier. There was like this pool does not exist. There's
Maybe
no
Ronnie
way.
Made it.
But like there was no pool. We saw in the backyard. Like there was. So this pool just got installed like today.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is
crazy.
Maybe if they were selling the house, the pool was they installed the pool or something, but I don't know.
I was thinking maybe it's a neighbor's pool or something.
That is also possible too, but
because I was like, wait, they can't afford a pool.
Here's where Dr. Loomis shows up, and he tells Michael to please stop. Michael doesn't, so he shoots Michael. Now, didn't he buy a .357 Magnum?
He did.
Now,
this is a revolver, right?
Yeah, I can understand having a little bit of psychotic, so it's been known that like people who have psychotic episodes sometimes don't feel pain or are stronger than normal people. However, if you shoot them with a .357 Magnum,
they're going down.
You're gonna put like a fist-sized fucking hole through them.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense either.
That's a pretty extreme fucking weapon.
Yeah, he shoots him 3 times too, which is crazy. So he goes down right next to Lori. I wrote they hug in the pool. I did not write that, computer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember that scene.
Oh wait, no, they do hug in the pool. They do. Loomis and Lori like hold each other while Michael's right there.
Okay. Yeah, the way you just phrased it sounded like it was Loomis and Michael, and I was like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, okay, good. All right, I actually did that right. Good for me. So she brings him he brings her to a cop car.
She asks, was that the boogeyman? And I don't think the line hits anywhere near as well as the original version.
Agreed. Do you want to come up? You can come up. Come here. All right, there we go. We got
especially because he adds one extra word.
Does he?
Yeah, it adds one extra word and it kills the sentence because she says, "Was that the boogeyman?" And he says, as a matter of fact, it was. But here he says, as a matter of fact, I do believe, and I think those 2 extra words change.
Kind of ruin it.
Yeah, it ruins the phrasing, and it makes it like, I don't know, it doesn't work as well. It doesn't seem as ominous.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So then Michael just kind of breaks the glass of the door and pulls Lori out. And Dr. Loomis is saying, it's not your fault. It's my fault. I failed you. And then he just starts crushing Dr. Loomis's head.
Yeah, like squeezing his eyes in, and I'm like my one-eyed cat. I'm like, don't look, please don't. I
So
wrote
hold
gun.
on.
I wrote gun question mark.
That's later on. That's
Okay.
later on.
Okay.
Because she starts crawling through the walls because this place is just ridiculously not up to code.
Yeah, and she's obviously a very tiny person because she fits through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Huh.
he's smashing things. She's smashing things. She's crawling through the walls. He's smashing the ceiling, trying to get her. And then she sees Dr. Loomis's gun, and she climbs up on the into the ceiling.
Yes, as you do.
Yeah, so here's where I wrote, in fact, how are the Strodes selling a place that is this not up to code?
Yeah, I mean, probably to be demolished or to completely flip. You know?
Yeah. So Michael starts smashing the ceiling with a 2x4.
That was scary.
And Laurie is doing, of course, the sensible thing by making a ton of noise so Michael can know exactly where she is.
I love horror movies.
And,
thank you for all the kisses, Peanut. Yes, thank you.
I wrote, then she falls to the not up to code ceiling. Michael stands there looking at her. He drops his 2x4 and charges into her, knocking her off the balcony because why not? And she wakes up on top of Michael. She's very bloody. She points the gun at his face and it clicks several times. He wakes up, grabs her hand, and the shot she fires this time works. And what doesn't work is she starts screaming and it cuts to her as a baby crying before the credits. And I thought that was a really bad transition.
Yeah, they just didn't have the right thing. Okay. Yeah, I know. Peanut, yes. They didn't have the right button to the end of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, I felt that was not a good transition for the end.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Is she in the second one?
Yes. In fact, the second one, they found a way to bring Sherry Moon Zombie back because Rob Zombie doesn't make movies without her.
Oh, yeah, because that came on right afterward, and I was the opening scene is a different actor playing young Michael. And her. Yeah.
And her ghost is basically convincing Michael to kill.
Okay.
Which makes no sense. And I just remember watching it and being like, Rob, you confused this with a Friday the 13th movie.
That's funny shit. Yeah.
And then eventually towards the end, Laurie has a psychotic break and she and Michael join together at the end and start killing people.
Cool. I like that.
I don't, but that is how Halloween 2 ends.
Wow. Okay, Gurker, just a minute, okay?
Yeah. So that was Halloween. As I said, it was a $15 million budget. Made $90 million at the box office. Made Rob Zombie completely fucking miserable.
Right.
You know, and gave, but it did give work, as I said, to a lot of people who hadn't, weren't really getting much work except outside the horror convention circuit.
Right.
Sid Haig and Adrian Barbeau and Sybil Danning and Ken Foree and Dee Wallace and Clint Howard and Leslie Easterbrook and all these people, like I said, from movies.
So many people,
that I remember from growing up. He found ways to put in this film.
That's really cool.
Which I always appreciate. And as I said, Tarantino, I'm not a big Tarantino fan, but I appreciate that Tarantino did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that filmmakers are still doing that to this day.
Yep.
So, but yeah, well, since before we go, we just want to remind you, on December 16th, at the Film Noir Cinema
in Brooklyn, New York, at 9 p.m.
Brooklyn. Anyway,
Brooklyn. Yes, Bishop's Cove will be screening.
I will never do that again.
I don't believe you.
Yes.
Yeah, Bishop's Cove will be screaming.
Yes. And then in the movie we'll cut to you as a baby.
Yes. Yes, and somehow we're related, and it's you holding me, and I'm just like crying.
Yes, boy, that would be. Well, my dad did get around, but you never know. But and your mom did know Last House on the Left, so maybe she gave you a completely different story and met my dad at a convention or something.
I thought my dad was Neil Diamond. God damn it, mother.
But she just says that because Sweet Caroline was playing when
yes.
They got it on. God, I would absolutely hate if that was the truth. So let's hope it's not. So anyway, but yeah, Bishop's Cove.
Bishop's Cove.
Yep. You can buy tickets at the little handy QR code that you'll see between our pictures, and it's down there. It's down there. You know, and so please come to that. Tickets are only like $15. And it'll probably be our only screening in the New York City area.
Yes.
Before, you know, like, and if you're wondering when, you know, some people will be like, well, I can just wait until it's on streaming. Like, I guess you want to wait till way next year, but you know.
Yeah, see it while you can, and stay tuned for updates on where we're showing it next. Exactly. And as we said, there'll be signed, copies of our previous stuff, 21st Century Demon Hunter and Teresa and Allison. Yes.
So that should be fun, and hope to see you there. We'll have a Q&A. It'll be a joyful time.
Woohoo!
So Chelsea, where can people find you?
You can find me at Chelsea.LeSage on Instagram. And where can they find you, Sir Charles? At
charles.d.lincoln. And you can find us together
at CL Square Productions on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yes.
And
since it is October and we're sticking with classic horror, next week we're going to touch on the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Great. I've never seen it.
Actually, you have. In fact, I've shown it to you.
Oh, God damn it. Was I really fucked up?
Probably. You know.
Okay, cool. Ooh, bye.
But yeah. No, in fact, I think we saw it the same night that I showed you the original Hellraiser and Nightbreed.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it again.
At the Stuytown place. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Please come support on the 16th of December in Brooklyn at 9 p.m. at the Film Noir Cinema. And we are really excited to talk to you next week.
All right. We will see you then. And take care, everyone. And bye.
Bye.